Hello? You guys done back there? Your Honor, case number 557 on the calendar, the matter of Riles versus Oliver.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
How old are you, Miss Riles?
21.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm a full-time student at JSU,
What's JSU?
Jacksonville State University.
Okay, you senior?
No, ma'am, I'm junior.
And how old are you, Miss Oliver?
I'm 19 years old.
What do you do?
I'm a full-time student
Where?
at West Central College.
Did you two go to high school together?
No, ma'am.
How do you know each other?
I know of Kiana through a friend of mine that also go to JSU, Jacksonville State University.
And she doesn't know you?
Through association, barely, face, name, through the fight.
It's your claim, Miss Riles, that Miss Oliver falsely accused you of assault, an assault that occurred in October of 2008.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct, Your Honor.
And you want to be compensated.
Yes.
Miss Oliver says that you were, in fact, there in October of 2008. She's counterclaiming not for the assault that she alleged happened in October of 2008, but for a subsequent assault that happened in November of 2008. I don't know why she's not counterclaiming with regard to both assaults, since this is a civil action, but we'll find out. I assume, Miss Riles, that you were arrested.
Yes, ma'am.
When?
I was arrested on October 23rd, 2008.
And you allege, Miss Oliver, that Miss Riles was involved in an assault that took place when in October?
On October 9th, 2008.
Did you file a complaint naming Miss Riles?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
When?
That same day. The same day of the fight, October 9th.
Same day.
The
Can
same
I
day.
see that complaint, please?
I'll do that for you.
All right, thanks.
Why did you first tell the police that you didn't want to prosecute this case?
I wanted to talk to my mother, get her advice. I was emotionally distressed. I was very upset when the police came.
Did you
I
know
wanted her
why
to
you
talk.
were assaulted?
Not at the time. I did not know until after the fight why I was assaulted.
Well, not that I'm taking that into account with regard to this case. I understand that some of the girls, at least, not this young lady, but some of the girls, at least, pled guilty
Yes.
to that assault.
Yes, ma'am.
They did not prosecute her with your consent.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. Why did the other girls tell you that they had assaulted you?
They did not tell me anything. When I got there, the girls were yelling and screaming, calling me obscenities, claiming that I scratched one of her close friends' cars and something about her boyfriend.
Oh, this had to do with a boy.
It had nothing to do with the boy.
They
I
said
dealt
it
with.
had something to
Yes,
do with
they
it.
said it had to do with the boy.
Do you know who these other girls were?
Yes, ma'am.
Who were they?
My friends from Jacksonville State University.
Do you know why they assaulted her?
From what they told me that the defendant had keyed her car. Yes, ma'am. That's what they said.
So that they, in retribution, assaulted her?
No, ma'am, they didn't assault her because that they were over there going to check on to see if they can get her car fixed at Kiana Oliver's apartment with a guy. And from my assume that...
Let me tell you this. They pled guilty to assault.
Yes, ma'am.
So we can't make any excuses for them. Okay?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not, Your Honor.
Okay. And when they got there, they beat her up. She was alone. What?
I was one of the girls who were there.
Stand up. You plead guilty to assault?
No, ma'am, I didn't. We pled not guilty. We ended up going to trial. We were found guilty.
Oh, so you were found guilty.
Yes, ma'am.
So then you're guilty. Why was she beaten up?
There was never our intentions to come over there and beat her. As a matter of fact, we did not even know that Miss Oliver stayed in those apartments when we went over there. Our main objective going over there was to see our friend who said that he could fix the scratches on the car.
Can you tell me why you beat her up?
I was not encountered in the fight. I was there, but I did not encounter in the fight at all.
Why did your friends beat her up?
It was basically when we were over there at the apartment, we were outside with the guy that could fix the car, and he was looking at the car. She was not there. When she pulls up with her friend, she's not driving, she's the passenger, and the driver, she gets out of the car with her shoes off, and she's pointing at all of us, and she says, "Who came over here to fight me? Who came over here to fight me?" My friend, which is my roommate, she asks her repeatedly, "Were you the one that keyed my car?" She did not answer the question. She continues to run up in my friend's face, and she says, "Who came over here to fight me?" Soon she hits my roommate in the face, and they go into the altercation.
Now you can sit down. By the way, was Miss Riles with you that day?
No, ma'am, she was not there. She was at work.
Who were you?
I'm Mrs. Riles' mother.
Okay. Where were you, Miss Riles, on the 9th of October?
I was at work, and I have proof of
like to
evidence
see
and
that.
time I clocked in and clocked out.
That's why the district attorney
Yes, ma'am.
elected not to prosecute you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, this was accepted into evidence by the clerk of the court and the magistrate as a true and accurate copy of the time card from her employer.
I don't care. I saw her there with my eyes, and I have a witness that will also testify she was there, and it will disclaim the account that her witness just gave.
I don't believe her witness.
But I have someone who's seen her there also who actually knew her personally, whereas I did not.
Tell me your name.
Darlicia Cole.
Were you driving her that day?
No, ma'am.
Where were you?
I was at her apartment with her roommate, and we was there before the fight even started. We was in the house, and her and all of her friends came, and they came twice, and their intentions was to fight.
I don't know. You can't tell me what their intentions were. They came twice. Was the defendant home when they came?
No, ma'am. She was in class.
Not working?
No, ma'am. She was not at work.
She was in class?
Yes, ma'am.
What time was the first time that you saw Miss Riles?
It was early in the day. It was in the afternoon, and her and all her friends came up there twice.
Well, just a second. How long have you known Miss Riles?
I don't know her. Like, I seen her around campus.
That's it.
I know her through mutual friends.
You just said you don't know her. You've seen her around campus. Did you ever have a meal with her?
No, ma'am.
And how many girls were there?
There were like 7 girls. And
Okay, I got it. Now you can sit down.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Alexia Riles says 19-year-old Kiana Oliver falsely accused her of an assault. Kiana is countersuing for a second assault.
Okay. How many girls went over there that day?
4.
Okay. Now, Miss Riles, let me make this very easy for you. Unless you can demonstrate that there was some reason that had nothing to do with the truth, that she named you as a suspect, I'm dismissing your case, and I'm going to explain why. The two of you didn't know each other, or she didn't know you.
Yes.
So there would be absolutely no reason for her to try to make a false claim against you. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. From my understanding.
Just pay attention.
Yes, ma'am.
If somebody identifies a suspect, either because somebody else says to them, so-and-so was there, or she looks in a book, is that what happened?
That's exactly what happened. I identified her.
That's a mistake. Not malicious, not knowingly false. It's a mistake. And if courts permitted victims of a mistaken identity to sue a victim who unwittingly and through no malice made a false identification, that would send a chill through the justice system. People would be afraid to come forward and file complaints. So we don't permit that. We permit it in a case where a complainant makes a knowing false charge against somebody, which results in them being arrested. Now, if you have evidence that she willfully and knowingly made a false charge against you and there was a motive to do that, I'll hear you. But if she made a mistake, it's not actionable. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Now I'm going to get to you. Your counterclaim is not for the assault that you allege happened on the 9th of October, but for something that happened in November. Did you file a police report for
Yes,
that
ma'am, I
incident?
did.
I'd like to see it.
Would you like to also see pictures?
November?
Yes, pictures, hospital.
I'd like to
report,
see
and all
everything that you have for a November incident.
Your Honor, I also have a police report for that incident
I'm
as
going to
well.
get to you.
Yes, ma'am.
This is her claim.
Yes, ma'am.
Her countersuit is now really her claim.
Okay.
All right, tell me what happened in the November assault.
Earlier that day, my cousin had came to Alabama because I actually was once a student at JSU with Miss Riles. My cousin came to visit me from Georgia, her and her baby. She was about 2 months. She asked to use my car to go to the gas station. I said, okay, that's fine, go ahead, you have your license. She went to the gas station. About 5 minutes, I received a call telling me that the girls I had previously gotten into a fight with were following her and trying to run her off the road. I said, go directly to the police station. This is not the first time they had tried to harass me and my friends because I was in, at that time, pursuing, filing a case against them. I was trying to get them locked up for assaulting me. They were angry about it. I told her to go straight to the police station. I met her at the police station. We went to the police station. They didn't seem to take me very seriously when I told them they were trying to run.
They didn't take you seriously?
Yeah, they didn't take me seriously. They asked for a tag number for the car. I said, I don't know where she lives. I don't know how to get her tag number. I went to the Grove, which is apartments in JSU, college apartments. I had male friends who I was going to visit, me and one of my friends. I happened to see the red car, which is her friend's car, which she was also identified by my cousin as one of the people in the car.
You can't tell me what your cousin said.
I'm sorry. I saw the car. I said, we finna get this tag number, and I'm going to go back to the police, and I'm going to give it to them because I want to be taken seriously. I pulled up to the car, and the girls came out the building. They ran out the building yelling and screaming, so I drove off. I waited about 5 or 10 minutes for them to go back in the building, and I creeped back up, but I didn't pull all the way to the car because I didn't want them to see me. As I was writing the numbers out, the 3 girls, Miss Riles and 2 other girls who were also convicted in the first fight, came out, surrounded my car, yelling and screaming, get out the car, da-da-da-da, started kicking my car. So I got out the car.
That was your first mistake?
It was my first mistake, you're right. I should have never gotten out the car. I should have never gotten out the car.
Absolutely right.
When I got out the car, I was immediately hit in the face with a high-heel shoe where I had a fractured nose.
Yeah, I see.
So I defended myself with the girl who I was fighting in the first fight. Once again, like in the first fight, the girl was not doing very well because she's considerably smaller than me, but she's real feisty, for lack of a better word. So Miss Riles and another friend decided that they were going to grab me and pull me to the ground and hold me down and allow the girl to beat me with a high heel again, busting my lip and my eye.
Now tell me your version of those events.
That is not how it happened, Your Honor. That day, me and the 2 friends that she had said were sent up upstairs in my apartment complex. We had the window open because my friend was wanting to keep an eye on her car.
Good. So
because it had recently been
go
keyed.
ahead. Let's go.
Okay. We see one of her friends.
Don't tell me what we saw. What did you see?
I saw one of her friends pull up, and it looked like she was probably running down the tag or either calling the defendant, telling the defendant that my friend was over there at the apartment.
Listen to me. Just tell me what you saw, not what you think.
I then told my friend to take a picture on her camera phone so we can go down to the police department and make a report. I was getting ready for work at that time. They said, okay, we're finna leave.
Don't tell me what they said. Just
Okay.
tell me what you did.
They left, going down the stairs, and I was still upstairs getting ready for work. I heard screaming and cursing. I looked out my window. I see the defendant getting out her car, running towards my friend. I then see my friends taking off her heel because she was in high heel shoes, and they began to fight.
I thought I wasn't there.
Just a second.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
As they was fighting, I was standing upstairs looking for a minute before I even went downstairs. When I went downstairs...
What did you go downstairs for?
To break it up.
Why didn't you call the police?
We did call the police.
Not
Your
we.
Honor.
Instead of going downstairs, why didn't you call the police and stay upstairs?
I just wanted to break up the fight. I never touched Kiana. Never.
What did you do?
I then went downstairs, and as I was downstairs, my friend was on top of Kiana on the ground.
Which girl was on top of her?
The one that supposedly she keyed her car was on top of her, hitting her with her high heel shoes. I was pulling my friend off of her. As I was pulling my friend off of her, the fight decreased. It was over. And Kiana got in the car with her friend and said, aha, you just beat me up again. And that's when she went to the police department. I said, friend, I will go to the police department and make my witness statement with you. We then went to the police department. I made my witness statement, and the police took down what I said. I have that report here today.
I'd like to see it.
Yes, ma'am. I then told them what I said, and he said...
Did you tell them that your friend hit her in the face with a shoe?
No, ma'am, he didn't ask me.
That's a problem. That's a problem. Why didn't you tell him that you just told me that your friend took off a high heel shoe and hit her in the nose?
I just told him they got into an altercation.
You made some bad judgments, Miss Riles. You made a bad judgment in going downstairs the second time in the November incident. Should have stayed upstairs and called the police. I think you made bad judgment by keeping in touch with these girls. Because if they have a problem, they resort to the justice system. They don't resort to beating up other people. That's ridiculous. That's not what college girls are supposed to do. Not how young people are supposed to behave who are trying to make something of themselves. So you made some mistakes, but I don't think she hit you. I think it was the other girl.
May I talk, please?
Yeah, you can talk. You can tell
The girl who she's accusing of getting on top of me and beating me with a high heel shoe, Judge Judy, I am 5'11" and I weigh 165 pounds. This girl is 5'2" and weighs about 105 pounds. There is no way possible that she was on top of me with no one's help, restraining me, beating me with a shoe, biting me, kicking me, and punching me to the extent of those pictures. It's not possible.
No, I looked at the pictures. I see the pictures.
It's not possible.
I
was
see that. Just listen to me.
restrained.
Are you telling me that this is the bite?
Yes, ma'am, that is a bite mark.
Who bit you?
The girl who was hitting me with the shoe bit me.
What did she do?
She was holding my arm
I don't believe
the
you.
entire time.
No, I don't believe you. Did you key the car, by the way?
No, ma'am. Absolutely not.
No? Okay, good. You made some mistakes. You chose not to prosecute this assault. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you explain to me why you chose not to prosecute this assault?
The first case had not went to trial yet.
I understand that.
Judge Judy, this was a very traumatic experience.
I just want to know why you
I
chose...
no longer wanted to travel from Georgia to Alabama to go to court time after time. I had to relocate to Georgia. I no longer was living in Alabama. I had to drive from my parents' house in Georgia and miss work. I started a new school. I had to cancel school and everything every time we had to come to court. I felt that I was going to win the first case, so it was no need to prosecute a second case. It was too stressful. I couldn't deal with it.
And the first case you did, in fact, win against everybody except her.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this is case number 468 on the calendar in the matter of Hanson versus Carney.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Miss Hanson, it is your claim that Miss Carney assaulted you at a party. It was a Halloween party, and it was being held at some firehouse?
Yes,
It's a
fire
firehouse.
department.
Adults were there, young people were there. Your parents were there?
Yes.
Were your parents there?
No.
Oh, right. Now, Miss Carney, your defense is that, yes, you did, in fact, hit her, but she started it.
Yes.
So since you acknowledge that there was a physical altercation, I'm going to let you tell me what happened.
Okay. I had walked it since the moment I walked in. The first time I saw her, she had called me when I walked by.
I assume you knew her from before.
Yes.
From when before?
A long time ago, like 6 years ago, probably.
Had you seen her in those 6 years?
I don't think so.
What time did you get to this Halloween party?
I have no idea. Probably 9 or so, I don't know.
Was this person with you?
Yes.
What time did you get to the party?
It was at 9.
Okay. So you say you passed her by and she called you a name. Keep going.
Okay, and so we kind of ignored it, and we were sitting at a table.
Not we. I don't want to hear
Okay.
about the we.
Sorry. Okay.
She didn't call anybody else a name. She called you a name.
Yes. Okay, and then we passed by before we went in the bathroom, and she...
Who's we?
Me and 2 other friends. And then by the time we got into the bathroom, we had had an altercation. She called me...
No. Listen to me very carefully. And don't look down there. You look here.
Okay.
She called you a name. You ignored it. Sat down. You and your friends went to the bathroom. As you were going to the bathroom, did she say something else to you?
Well, actually, we were going to the other room, which the bathroom is in a hallway, and we're going through the hallway to a different room. And she had said some other things. I don't remember exactly what it was, though.
Directed to you?
Yes.
Okay, and you kept walking. Keep going.
And then a few minutes later, we went into the bathroom, and her friend were in there. And
Okay, so when you got into the bathroom, she was there. Who had to use the restroom?
we went in to do our makeup, actually.
So nobody had to use the restroom.
No.
And when you got into the restroom, the plaintiff was there. She was there with anyone else?
With her friend, I believe.
That would be you. Go ahead.
Okay. And so
Don't
we...
look down. I'm not interested in looking down. I'm interested in looking here.
Okay. And so we had had an altercation. She was saying
Don't
that
tell
I
me
was-
altercation. Altercation is a conclusion. I want you to tell me what happened when you got to the bathroom.
Okay.
She was there already.
Yes.
What was she doing when you walked in?
Standing there. I don't know exactly what she went in the bathroom to do.
What was she doing when you walked in?
She was just standing there. She wasn't doing anything.
She was standing in the bathroom.
Yes, she was standing
Near
in the
the
bathroom.
sink?
Yeah, well, it's kind of small, so yeah, near the sink, I guess you could say.
And what happened?
Okay. And I walked in there, and she said, "Oh, you must have not heard me." And I said, "Yeah, I did hear you." And then we just got into this argument about my ex-boyfriend.
No. You must have not heard me.
Okay.
Yes, I heard you. She said, you said, come on.
She was saying how my boyfriend liked her and wanted her, and I was nothing to him, blah, 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 blah.
You mean you're talking about 6 years ago?
Exactly, yes, 6
Okay.
years ago.
Go ahead. And?
And so I just said, "You could have him if you want him. He's not mine anymore, blah, blah, blah." And then she was just on and on about how much he wanted her, blah, blah, blah. So it made me mad. So I threw my water at her out of my cup. And so she started to come towards me. I hit her. She pulled onto my hair. And then her dad came into the bathroom and grabbed me out and said, you can either go out in cuffs or you can go out yourself. So I said, okay, I'm going out myself. Went outside with Whitney. And she came running out and pushed me and said, oh, it's all right, Danielle, I got her, and ran back into the bathroom. And so when we left, we went down to our car, and her dad walked by and said, oh, just remember, little girl, this isn't over yet. So I was like, okay. And they drove by about probably 10 minutes later, right before we were leaving, and they were calling me and stuff when they were driving by. So
That has nothing to do with the assault.
okay,
You
well, asked
assaulted
what
her.
happened, so I told you what.
You assaulted her.
Okay.
What part didn't you understand that you assaulted her? You can't throw water on her. Okay. That's an assault. And let's go through it very slowly. Remember, you don't have to have a good memory if you tell the truth. You threw water on her, and then what happened?
And then she came at me, so
Then she came towards you.
Okay.
And then you hit her,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Where did you hit her?
Her face, I think.
You can't do that. Is that what happened?
No, it's not what happened at all.
So I've just heard a whitewashed version of what happened?
Yes.
Why don't you tell me what happened?
Okay,
But this
it
is
was-
bad enough.
Yeah. It was about 10:30 at night on October 25th, and I had not seen her that whole night. I didn't know she was there. Me and Ashley went into the bathroom to go to the bathroom, and about 30 seconds to a minute later, she comes in with two of her friends. And I say, hi, Brenda. She goes, why are you saying hi to me? I said, because I was just trying to be nice. She replies, why, because you my boyfriend? And I said, no, I didn't have sex with your boyfriend. She comments about my chin, insults me, so I say something about her hair. I walk towards the restroom, turn my face, and she hits me in my eye. And I have pictures to
What
prove
about
it.
the water? Didn't she throw water?
She didn't throw water on me. She hit me once. I kneeled down, I come back up, and I pulled her hair. She hit me again in the same eye. I let go of her hair, I grab my face, and my friend Ashley pulls me into the stall. And I hear my dad's voice. He comes in to the bathroom, and I hear him. So I open the stall, and he says 3 times to her, you need to get out of the bathroom. You need to leave the bathroom. And as they are leaving the bathroom, her friend turns around, throws her drink on my face, into my eye.
Which friend?
I don't remember.
Which friend?
Don't remember.
Which friend?
Which friend it was?
Don't speak!
Okay.
Which friend?
It was our friend Brianna.
That was
I
after
love
was
it
gone then.
when it all... Shut up. Okay. I gave you an opportunity to speak first, right? Everybody else was quiet.
Yes.
If I had let you answer the question, you would have said nobody threw a drink at her. That's why I asked her.
Okay.
Because then I got an honest answer.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Danielle Hansen says Brenda Carney assaulted her in the restroom during a Halloween party. Brenda claims that Danielle was the aggressor.
Okay. You have medical bills?
Yes.
I'd like to see them, please. What do you do for a living, Miss Carney?
I'm a waitress
Where?
at Buffalo Hill Cafe in Georgetown.
How long have you been there?
About 6 years, 5 or 6 years.
Who do you live with?
I live with my mom,
Anybody else?
my dad, and my brothers.
How come you didn't have her arrested?
That's me.
I would have had her arrested.
Your Honor, I'm Steve Hampson. I'm her dad. We did call the police. The first 2 sheriffs that did show up interviewed my daughter and had to go to the hotel to get the defendant out of the bar. They took her statement. A 3rd sheriff arrived and basically took over the whole situation. We felt it was kind of biased because the sheriff knew the family.
I assumed somebody knew a family.
Yeah.
Can I say
I-
something?
I assumed somebody knew a family.
No. Okay.
I assumed somebody called somebody who knew a family.
We didn't know any of the sheriffs that were there that night.
I didn't say you.
Okay, I'm just letting you know we had no idea who they were, so.
I didn't say you.
Okay.
Family, I said.
Or my family.
No, I don't believe that at all. Because with this kind of injury, I just found out the story. I asked you what happened. You acknowledged that you assaulted her. I assume you said the same thing to the sheriff who came. I assume you did because you told me that you assaulted her. So I don't understand if you assaulted her and caused her physical injury, why you weren't arrested unless somebody knew something. Unless somebody knew somebody. Certainly pleased that you're working, my darling. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I wanted to go to the bathroom. I needed to go to the bathroom. I turned my head and she hit me.
She was very upset, holding her face. You know, it was pretty obvious that she had been assaulted.
If someone just says, hi, how are you, what would give me the reason to punch him in the face?
I didn't do anything to her.
She had just said that she wished wasn't wearing the same costume as her.
We were wearing the same costume. I think she was just a little mad because I looked better in mine.
Not sound biased, but yes, my daughter did look a lot better in the costume.
Get over small stuff.
Well, I'll never hit anyone again. That's for sure.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Morris versus Morones, step forward, please.
19-year-old Pura Morris is suing her co-worker, Felicia Morones, for borrowing her Toyota Camry and wrecking it.
Miss Morris, the defendant borrowed your car.
Yes.
You were co-workers?
Yes.
And she totaled the car. You want her to pay for the car because while you had liability insurance on the car, you didn't have collision insurance on the car.
Yes, ma'am.
And the defendant says that the accident was not her fault, and therefore she's not responsible for the damage. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. When did you borrow her car?
In the first couple of weeks of November.
When did you borrow your car?
November 8th.
See, when you lose property that you pay for, you remember the date that you lose it.
Right.
When you don't pay for property, you don't even remember the date that you lost the property.
Well,
November 8th. Tell me under what circumstances she borrowed the car.
It was about 1:30 and she was getting off a couple hours before I did and she wanted
Where do you work?
Taco Bell as my second job. She got off about 1:30 and I was supposed to close to be getting off at 4 and she had asked to borrow the car. And I really didn't want to give it to her at first.
I don't care whether you wanted to give it to her or not. I want to know what you said to her and what she said to you.
She asked to borrow the car. She said she was going to go check and see who was at a club and I told her she could not borrow my car if she was going to be drinking. She said, okay, well then I'll just go home. And when I got off, she was supposed to come back up there and bring the car to me. And under them circumstances, she could borrow the car. I didn't want her to walk home at 1:30 in the morning. It's a bad part of town.
Well, if you hadn't lent her the car, how did you intend to get home?
well, I have my husband to pick me up. He would come pick me up if I called him. She offered.
Just answer my question. When you didn't borrow her car,
Right.
how did you get home at 1:30 in the morning?
My manager, or like I would call somebody to come, you know, pick me
At
up.
1:30 in the morning?
Yes.
Like who?
My kid's dad or the manager. She would clock out and take me home if I needed.
Go ahead.
She had kept asking to borrow the car, and so finally I said, all right, well, just pick me up when it's over.
What kind of car did you have?
A 98 Toyota Camry.
And this Taco Bell job is your second job.
Yes, ma'am.
What's your first job?
I work at a doctor's office.
Where's your husband to?
He's a medical assistant.
Saving up some money?
Kind of. We just bought a house, so it's pretty much, we saved up to buy the house, and then we found out that it went through, and
How much money had you saved, Miss Morris?
a little over $2,000.
How long did it take you?
Month and a half, about 2 months.
So you work a lot.
Yes, ma'am.
What about your husband? Does he work a lot?
Yes, ma'am.
Who do you live with?
With my husband,
What does he do for a living?
he makes printing ink.
Okay. So you borrowed her car.
She offered her car.
I don't care whether she offered it or not. You borrowed her car. How old are you?
32.
You borrowed her car. You have a problem? You want me to give you the definition of borrow?
No, I know the definition.
Good. You borrowed her car.
Okay.
And what happened?
Well, I was at work and I was getting off early.
I heard that already. You were getting off early and you wanted to go home. And you didn't want to call your manager.
Well,
or
I
the
didn't want to
father
go
of your
home. I told her I
children.
wanted to go out.
You wanted to go out?
Yes, to a
How old are your
club.
children?
At home with their father.
How old are they, I said?
How old? From 16 to 5.
So you wanted to go out to a club. For what?
To have a couple of drinks.
With whom?
With just myself and whoever friends I saw there.
What about going home to your husband and children?
Well, I mean, occasionally I'll like go, you know, out with friends and we'll, you know, go out, drink or whatever, so.
You borrowed the... Did you steal the car?
No, I did
Look,
not.
Look, all right, let's try to make this simple, even for you. Did you buy the car?
No.
Did you steal the car?
No.
Did you have possession of the car?
Yes.
Didn't steal it, and you didn't buy it.
So,
Then you borrowed it.
Okay.
She didn't lose it. She didn't sell it. She loaned it to you.
Right.
You borrowed it from her. Now do you understand?
Yes.
Perfect. So tell me what happened to the car.
Okay, I was coming from the club because they were already closed. So I was just in the parking lot, so I just got back in the car, and then I took off, and then I was on the way to go home to change my clothes.
Change your clothes to do what?
Because I had on my Taco Bell uniform.
So what were you changing into?
I was going to go change like into some jeans and a t-shirt, and then because she didn't have to get off till 4. And then when I was driving, a truck is coming towards my way on the other side. So then he decides to get in my lane, and I'm thinking he's going to move, and then he doesn't. So it's either I have a head-on collision, or what I did is I swerved, and when I swerved, there was like a ditch there with a little like boulder thing, and I like hit the boulder thing, and like when I did, it had like I could hear it like scrape the whole bottom of the car, and I went into like a little ditch where there was trees and stuff. So
Did you call the police?
no, I did not.
Why not?
Because the car started back up after the airbags
Well, you just
deployed.
heard, you were just in almost a terrible accident. You heard that the car was damaged by hitting the underside of the car. A truck caused that damage, according to you. Truck caused that damage because it was traveling the wrong way on a highway. It was in your lane.
Not on a highway.
On a street.
On the street, yes.
It was going the wrong way in your lane on a street. So traveling in a very hazardous way, causing your accident. Why didn't you call the police?
Well,
How
I
about
didn't.
because I didn't have a license?
Right.
How about that?
Because I didn't have a license.
That would be an answer. Why did you take possession of her car without...
She was aware of
I'm
that.
speaking. Don't tell me what she was aware of. Why did a 32-year-old woman take possession of a car, drive a car, without a license? Why?
Just, I don't know, just because I just did.
Well, then you pay for it. Can I get the book value of this car, please? 1998 Toyota Camry.
She willingly handed the keys over to me, though.
You're a fool. Let me tell you all the things that you said to me today that suggest to me that you're a fool. First, that you had no responsibility because she offered you the car. Second, that you think that I believe that someone else caused this accident, despite the fact that you took the car, went to a club 1:30 in the morning, instead of going home after a shift of work to be with your husband, because you used that word loosely, because you at first said the father of my children would come and pick me up. Then you said husband. So somebody is home with your kids while you're out clubbing. That makes you a fool. The next thing that you say is a fool is that she's responsible because she handed over the keys to you. That makes you a fool. Only a fool takes a car to drive it. I'm speaking on a public street without a license, who's 32 years old, who has a child as old as 16. If your child who is 16 who doesn't have a license takes a car and drives it on the street, he'll wind up in jail. That's where you should have been. At the price.
1998 Camry.
Yeah, good condition.
Private party, $5,100.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Yeah, it's case number 570 in the matter of delay versus Peterson.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Ms. DeLay, you and the defendant were friends throughout high school, and no quicker way to destroy a friendship very often than to become roommates in college. The two of you decided to share an apartment together. You signed a lease to a 2-bedroom apartment. It didn't work out, and you both moved out.
Correct.
You paid the transfer fee, allowing each of you to move into a 1-bedroom apartment. You want Ms. Peterson to be responsible for half of that transfer fee, plus her part of the cable bill that you say was in your name.
Yes.
Ms. Peterson says that your behavior and things that went on in the apartment made it impossible to stay there. She says that you wanted to move out, so you pay the transfer fee. And as far as the cable is concerned, she says you put a password on there that precluded her from using the internet and cable. She has no intention of paying it. She's counterclaiming for some nonsense. She wants you to return all the rent she paid because she didn't have a good time. Well, that's about what it is. So that's ridiculous. But I'll let you explain it to me in a very short period of time.
Okay.
Okay. When did you move into the apartment?
We signed the lease July 8th, and I moved in July 8th.
And Ms. Peterson moved in 2 months later.
Correct.
Okay. When did you sign the transfer agreement?
I don't have the exact date, but it was
end of January. I moved into my new apartment, I believe, end of January, early February.
All right. So that Ms. Peterson lived there September, October, November, December. And when did you move out?
I moved out on the 16th of January.
Now, you're going to explain to me, Ms. Peterson, why you are not responsible for one half of the transfer fee that permitted the two of you to go your separate ways. You were both unhappy, correct?
Yes.
Both unhappy. You explain to me why you should not be responsible for half that transfer fee.
Okay. Back in July, in the summer, Veronica expressed to me that she wanted me to find a new roommate to cover her half of the lease. And I went forward with that, and I found a roommate.
In July?
In July, before we were even living together, because of the cable internet bill, because I said I wasn't going to pay it. Because I didn't need it. I don't watch TV, and I had friends who were moving upstairs who said I could use their internet or I could go down to the common room where they offer it for free. So I found a roommate, and in the end of August, the first weekend before school, I spoke to Veronica, and she said, "Oh, I'm not moving out anymore." So.
And in September, you stayed?
I did, because I had no choice.
Fine, you stayed.
Right.
But things were not good.
No. In November, I moved most of my things upstairs to my friend's apartment, and I was hardly ever at the apartment. If I was, I locked myself in my room because I didn't feel comfortable with her and her boyfriend being there all the time. I was scared, and I felt harassed and threatened by her.
Listen to me. Then you should be very happy that she said, let's sign off on this lease and it'll cost us each $600.
Well,
and then we're out of each other's hair.
Well, at that point, I was so frustrated with everything I had been put through that...
Get unfrustrated. Get unfrustrated and grow up. It wasn't good. It wasn't a good situation.
Well, can I say something?
Yeah, say whatever you want to say.
My mom and my father and I all discussed commuting because we didn't want to give Veronica any more money. I had paid for her boyfriend to sleep over multiple times. I was never there.
Listen to me.
It was like having a third roommate, though.
I don't care. Listen, your parents care if you're unhappy.
Right.
Your parents care. Courts don't care if you're unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
Courts don't care if you don't like her boyfriend sleeping over. They don't care.
Well, there's a clause in the lease that says that no person can stay more than 14 nights, and I kept track on a calendar, and it exceeded the 14 nights, and we got a possible eviction notice from it.
Yeah.
Your Honor,
Just a second.
Okay.
All of that suggests to me that you should be very happy to find a new place all by yourself.
I wasn't even living there, though, at that point.
That's your choice.
Right.
That's your choice. What do you want?
I wanted to say something on Elizabeth's defense, Your Honor.
That?
I'm her mother, and on December 16th, my husband and I went into the peninsula. We hooked up the cable and the TV and the DVD player. And
because Veronica would no longer
just
let
a
me use
second.
hers.
Right. Elizabeth wasn't able to use it. We went downstairs and we met with the Peninsula management, and we wanted Veronica to sign off the lease. That's what we needed, so we wouldn't be responsible for the apartment any longer. And what we were going to do was have Elizabeth commute. So there was no reason for us to pay a transfer fee. But Veronica is the one that wanted to move out. She wanted her own apartment. And yes, we did want that too.
Your daughter wasn't staying there. She wasn't staying there because she was unhappy. Either she breaks the lease or she signs a transfer agreement. Those are the options.
But that was the option for Veronica, too. She could have broken the lease.
Just to say, she could have. This is a much better thing to do, rather than breaking the lease, to sign an orderly transfer agreement so that the landlord doesn't say, I'm stuck because they broke the lease. What I want to do is I want to move into another place. This is what it's going to cost. Otherwise, I'm on the hook for the entire year lease from January until the following June.
But I didn't trust that Veronica would do anything. She hadn't done it in the past.
I don't care what you trusted. Right now, it's a fait accompli. It's done. Your daughter is responsible for half the transfer fee on the apartment. There's no issue with regard to that. The only issue that I have for you, Ms. DeLea, is did you have a password or any device that precluded the defendant from using the internet and or cable?
I had a password.
Just a second. That's either a yes or a no.
On the internet, yes.
Did she say to you at any point, I'm not interested in cable?
She told me in November.
That's either a yes or a no.
In November, yes.
What month's cable do you think she's responsible for half of?
September through January.
She's not.
Okay.
She's not responsible for any of those.
Your Honor, she disconnected my cable in December, and even though I was still paying for it, prevented me from watching it.
I don't care. There has to be a contract. There has to be an agreement.
Your Honor, I have
Listen to me very carefully.
Yes, ma'am.
There has to be a contract and an agreement.
I have one.
I have an email, her writing that she would be responsible for half of all the cable and internet and electric bills.
Just a second. Did you tell me that you put a password so she could not use the internet?
There was a password on it originally, but... Excuse me.
I'm asking your daughter a question. Sit. You too.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Veronica DeLay says her former roommate, Elizabeth Peterson, owes for cable bills and an apartment transfer fee. Elizabeth is countersuing for the return of rent and harassment.
I'm asking whether she told you she wasn't going to use the internet, and you put a password on there that precluded her from tapping into the internet in your apartment.
I was required to put a password on the internet from the beginning, so yes, there was a password.
Did she have it?
No, ma'am.
Then she's not responsible for it.
Okay.
But she's responsible for half the transfer fee.
I just have...
Put your hand down.
Okay.
Stop being a baby. That's what you're responsible for. Just tell me what half the transfer fee is.
Half the transfer is $625.
Fine. You owe her $625 for that. Now, you want to give me your counterclaim in 30 seconds or less?
I have a breakdown of the
I'm not
counterclaim.
interested in your breakdown. Yeah, you have 30 seconds or less to tell me about your counterclaim, which is nonsense.
Well, my countersuit was because Veronica was using drugs in the apartment, and I'm on a full scholarship at my school, and that really, I could have lost my scholarship if she got caught at the apartment because we both signed the lease.
But you didn't.
No, we didn't. But one of the security guards approached me saying that he smelled.
You can't tell me anything that a security guard told you.
I have a report from him.
You can't tell me anything that anybody else said to you or wrote out in a statement that is hearsay. Do you have a police report?
I talked to the lieutenant of the police station because the security guard had him come down.
That's hearsay.
Well, I called and they didn't have a report. I was very surprised.
Oh, listen, you happy now with your new roommates?
Yes, but
Fabulous.
I'm unhappy that my scholarship was in jeopardy. Well, and it was like having a third roommate there at the apartment.
My dear, did you lose your scholarship?
No.
Good. You owe her $625 transfer fee and your counterclaim's dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She demanded that I had to ask her permission for every visitor.
But I asked just in case I had a test the next day because the walls are paper thin, you can hear everything through them.
We had to divide the cabinets in the kitchen.
I asked for one cabinet to put all my snacks in because I eat all organic.
I don't know. She just went crazy, pretty much.
She just doesn't care, so I'm going to live with people who aren't as selfish.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Polk versus Eskine. Step forward, please.
Victor Polk is suing the mother of his son's friend, Renata Eskine, for the cost to fix his car. Victor says Renata's son, 17-year-old Kerry Thomas, damaged the vehicle when he tried to jump over it.
Who jumped over the car? Raise your hand.
I did.
Stand over there. Mr. Polk, it is your claim that the defendant damaged your car.
Yes, ma'am.
He was playing a game with your son. I assume your son is sitting over there?
Yes, ma'am. That's Valentina.
And the game was to jump over your car.
Yeah.
Mrs. Eskine's son jumped over your car, landed on your car, dented your car. You want him to pay for your car.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Mrs. Eskine has some ridiculous defense. She says that your son goaded her son into jumping over the car.
That's correct.
That's wrong. Nobody goads somebody into doing something that's wrong and doesn't take responsibility.
He took responsibility.
Then he has to take responsibility for paying for the damage that he caused to the car. Reasonable?
Reasonable.
Great. So the only question is how much, right?
No, ma'am.
Why?
Because he didn't jump it alone, and he wasn't involved in it alone. They did it together. Both parents are both.
Just a second, Miss Eskine, are you telling me that this young man jumped on and damaged the car?
Yes.
Okay, you, talk to me.
Tell him.
You, talk to me.
Well, we were outside one October night. Me,
Listen,
him, and so.
I don't care if it was an October night, whether it was starry or not. All I want to know is you, an idiot over here, were playing a game of jumping over a car. Which idiot fell on the car?
I slid into the car.
Not him.
No, ma'am.
Then your mother is wrong. Put your hand down. Miss Eskind, I'm telling you what the law is. That's why you're here. Not what you feel in your gut as a mother. What the law is. He was lucky. He didn't cause damage to the car. He wasn't lucky. He did cause damage to the car.
The mother caused damage also.
No, my dear, not according to your son. You don't have your listening ears on. Not according to your son. According to your son, the only one that went into the car, slid into the car, was him. That's what he told me. So your thinking process, while understandable that the boys are playing and they should both be responsible, is not what the law is. The law does not prescribe that he has to pay for damage that he did, because he can say, no, I'm not doing it. You want to do it to your father's car? That's fine. No, I'm not doing it. And if he didn't do it, then there wouldn't be damage to the car. Is that right, Mr. Eskind?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The only question I have for you,
I'm not
sir,
finished, Your Honor.
You're finished. The only question I have for you, sir, is I looked very carefully at your complaint. You said that initially wasn't such a big deal, but then you realized that you had just had the car at a custom paint job.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it's a designer car. What kind of car is it?
Vintage 1991 Ford Mustang 5.0 convertible.
Okay. This incident happened on what date?
We don't have a date.
What date?
October the 10th.
I want to see the bill for painting the car prior to October 10th.
My initial paint job, my painter.
Don't give me a big story.
I don't have
Mr. Polk.
I don't have the receipt.
That's my problem.
The painter that painted my car, his name's Carlos. He's in America on a work visa from Mexico. I went back to Carlos to see if he could get me a receipt. Our business was cash-based, so therefore he did not...
Show me a withdrawal from your bank for $2,300.
I don't have a withdrawal
I don't
receipt.
believe you, sir. Then I don't believe that you spent $2,300 to paint your car. That's my problem. Got what I mean? I want to see a picture of the damage to the car.
Sure. These are before and after pictures. If you take a look at the paint job on that car, you'll see that it's an immaculate paint job.
It may be an immaculate paint job, sir. You should have gotten me a receipt.
Why is it in the front yard?
Just a second. I'm not speaking to you.
I was showing it off.
Put your hand down.
I'm proud of
you.
my car.
Why is it in the front yard?
Well, this whole fender has to be painted. There's no question about that. And it has to be fixed. There's a dent in it. Now I'll see your estimates to fix it. Oh, so this time you took it to a Chevrolet place?
Yes.
The first time you took it to an all-cash guy?
Carlos is no longer in Nashville, in my hometown.
Yeah, you're going to have to get it done for less. What do you want?
Your Honor, he's been working on this car for 5 years. He redid the inside
I've got
of it.
more than $10,000.
Let me ask you
invested
this
in
question,
car.
sir. Did you discuss with your child the game he was playing over your car?
Oh, yes, I did.
I want you to tell me about the discussion that you were having with the idiot about jumping over the car.
I told him that it was a ridiculous thing to do.
And what did he say to you?
He said he wasn't thinking. And that's the only explanation. Would you like to get up and tell her?
Yes, ma'am. Can I get up there and talk to you quick?
Oh, be my pleasure.
Well, first place, I didn't jump over the car at all. Like, I'm sorry. But the whole thing started, like, when we were playing basketball.
If you say anything, a sentence with the word like in it,
I'm sorry.
you can sit down.
Okay. This is what happened. We started playing basketball, and I bet him. I was like, I bet you I can jump over my dad's car.
Sit down. I don't want to hear anymore. You're an idiot.
Man, can I finish real quick?
Sit down. Just sit down. Mrs. Eskind has to pay for your car, sir, but she's not going to pay any more for the car than I think it's worth, because I don't think that you have to have the whole car repainted.
You do not understand how much time and effort and money I've sunk into this car.
Your son should have been more careful with it.
I cannot.
Listen to me. Your son should have been more careful with it.
I understand that.
Good. Shouldn't have been playing basketball around it. You think it would have gotten dented if a basketball hit it?
That's why I don't let them play basketball near my car.
It was right in the yard by the street.
Did I ask you anything? You're responsible because he's responsible. He's bigger than you are. Let
I
him
never
go
said
get a
I
job.
wasn't.
Good. Okay, now what's the piece of paper you want to show me?
This is the very first estimate he brought to me.
That I'll see.
On the night of the
That I'll
election, of the president election. I told him I did not mind working with him on half of those damages.
So is what you're telling me that the first estimate is just Price's Collision Center was $614.42?
Correct.
This is what he gave you first?
Yes.
Can you explain the disparity to me, sir, between $614.42 and the $2,300 you want now?
That is just for replacement of the fender. It is not for matching of the paint or anything like that.
That's not true. It says
she told me on our
It's
initial.
not true. But
She
that's
told-
not. Hey, That's not true. It says paint labor, 3.4 hours at $38 an hour, $129. Body labor, 3 hours, $114. Parts, $219. It has everything here. It all adds up to $614.42.
The car could not be painted on just the fender.
I don't know that, sir, at all. That's
I
your
never
first
received that.
Versus Mosier. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Year, or a good piece of it,
Yes,
during the course of an assault.
correct.
The defendant says he was defending not only himself, but really his sister when this incident took place. Is that right?
Yes.
So let me try to put this into context as I understand your complaint. Mr. Macklin, you were having a get-together, a party at your house with some friends and acquaintances. Among the people that were there, according to what you tell me in your complaint, was the defendant's sister.
Correct.
Someone who you knew casually. So far, am I correct?
Correct.
Is this the sister?
Yes, it is.
At some point during the evening, according to you, this gentleman appeared at your door. You asked him what he wanted. He said who he was, and he said, I'm here to pick up my sister. And you told him to get out.
Correct.
And sometime later, this altercation took place.
Yes.
You also tell me in your complaint, sir, that you had noticed some shenanigans going on with some men going into the bathroom with the defendant's sister. You
Yes.
didn't know what was going on in there, but I assume that you thought it was something of a sexual nature. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, I am assuming that you saw that before he came to pick his sister up.
Yes.
Why did you close the door in his face when he came to pick up his sister?
Because he was demanding some money.
Well, tell me about that, sir.
His sister is a dancer, a stripper. So he was demanding money. She claims I promised her some money to come strip at my party.
Oh, well, you didn't put that in your complaint, sir. So there's a whole other piece to this story that neither of you put in your papers. Is she a dancer?
Not now, she is not.
Was she then?
I believe so, yes.
What do you mean you believe so?
I don't know everything she does.
What prompted you, sir, to go to the house to pick up your sister?
I was called. I was at a bar. I was called. She had been at a bar with him. I was invited to his house to an after party.
You said you were at a bar and you got a call.
Of
Who
an
did you
after
get
party.
a call from?
My sister.
And what did your sister say to you when she called you?
Her friend was having an after party, wanted to know if I wanted to come there.
So you didn't speak to him, you spoke to your sister.
No, I spoke to him. He answered the door, let me in.
No, no, no. Before you
Yeah.
got there, listen to me very carefully. And if you don't tell me the truth about everything, you see, you're going to be tripping over your tie that you're not wearing. So I just want you to pay careful attention to me. When you got to the house, you hadn't spoken to him. You spoke to your sister who said, come over to this after party.
Yes, ma'am.
So you weren't going there to pick up your sister. You were going there because you had been invited to a party.
Yes.
Now, you said that when you got there, you could tell she was upset about something. When did you see her? When he opened the door?
Yeah.
And what made you think she was upset about something?
I could just tell. It's my sister, I can tell.
So he closed the door.
No, he let me in.
Oh, he did?
Yes, I had a big stack of CDs. I came in, had drinks, was there for probably an hour or so. I had CDs, was playing music, having a good old time for a while.
And then what happened?
Him and his friends wanted to start acting crazy, try to jump me, threw me through a coffee table.
Why do you think they did that after an hour?
I have no idea. I don't know them.
Just a second. Did he come into the house, Mr. Macklin?
Yes, he did.
All right. So you closed the door, told him to leave, but when did he come back?
It started with, I had this after party. I had friends. He was not invited to my house. His sister was. He barged into my house and assaulted me. He didn't get thrown through a coffee table. He threw one of my friends through a coffee table.
I thought you said you closed the door and told him to leave.
That's after he demanded money. He demanded money because he said...
So he was in the house already?
Yes.
Can I say something?
Just a second. Tell me what he said when he demanded money.
He says, you owe my sister $100. I said, this is my house, you can leave. Get out.
And what happened?
He left.
And then what happened?
Well, I was in my room looking on the computer with my witness, Janet, and all of a sudden I heard a loud crash. I'm like, what the heck's going on? Next thing you know, him and a bunch of his buddies are in my bedroom beating me up. You know, they come crashing through with a bunch of his buddies. They were beating me up.
Crashing through where?
They crashed through my bedroom. I was in my bedroom. You know, I was in my bedroom with her on the computer. And all of a sudden, all these guys just come rushing in.
You mean you're having a party with somebody who may or may not have been a dancer, and you got a whole bunch of people there having a good time, dancing, drinking, having fun, and you're inside on your computer in your bedroom.
Correct. Yes, we were in my bedroom on the internet. Yes. So, you know, I didn't know what the heck was going on. I'd never seen this guy before in my life. Never seen him before in my life. So I picked up a gun. They were like, he's got a gun, he's got a gun. So they went running outside. So I ran outside, and as they was running, they were crashing my house. I walked out my living room. It was just a shambles, you know. So I walked outside, went into the courtroom, down the stairs to get a license plate number, and all of a sudden, me and him got into a confrontation.
And what happens when you got into a confrontation?
We got into a confrontation. We started fighting. We went down to the ground, and we were rolling around.
And that's when you got your ear bitten?
Correct.
Okay. And where was the gun at that time?
Oh, it was in the house. I mean, it didn't even have a clip in it or anything like that.
I don't care whether it had a clip or not. You're telling me that you put the gun back inside when you went outside?
Oh, yes. I mean,
oh, yes. Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead. Now, let me hear you.
We was there partying and got in a big fight. I got through a coffee table.
What did you get into a fight about?
I don't really even know. They was all mad at her or something. I don't even know. I don't like to get involved in her affairs. But anyway, I was just there. I was just there to have a good time, party. The bars were closed, so I stopped by, you know, to have a couple drinks. It was still a little early. Well, I get through a coffee table. I was jumped up. I had a whole bunch of CDs, a book that holds about 100 CDs that I had brought with me to play some music. I was grabbing that. While I was grabbing that, he was grabbing his gun from in between the mattresses. I take off running. I'm jumping down flights of stairs. I'm not even running down the stairs. I'm jumping down them. I lose, you know, about 15 CDs. I'm trying to shove them back in the book. At this time, she yells, "Gun." So I thought he was coming at me with the gun. I took off running, ran around the building, which I was parked right in the front. I was so, you know, drunk and scared. I ran around the building. When I ran back, he met me. You know, he chased me outside. I don't know if he had the gun or not. It was dark. He came up to me and goes, "I have no problem with you," and hit me. When he did that, I had to do what I had to do. And I don't know what made me think to bite his ear off. All I knew is he had a gun.
I did not chase him with a gun. I was in my house. These guys, he came with a bunch of buddies.
He chased me outside, though.
Just a second. Step up. Tell me your first name.
Jenny.
What were you doing there, Jenny?
I just went there to just go chill after party.
After what party?
It was an after-bar party.
What were you doing in the bathroom with these guys?
I was in no bathroom with no guys. I was standing in the kitchen when my brother got there.
What do you do professionally?
Right now, I stay home with my child.
Okay. Before you stayed home with your child, did you do any professional dancing?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He was drunk. You were drunk. I have no idea about her. That's what happens when you get drunk. What do you want from me?
And later today.
How much was the ring?
$2,700, $2,500.
I'm trying to resolve this, Mr. Lupo. I don't want you to think that this is an interview for The Sopranos. Do you understand?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Vincent Macklin says Joshua Nave crashed his party, started a fight, and bit off part of his ear.
Go ahead.
Can I show you this? It says right here, it's a police report where he says the victim stated, which is him, that he was very drunk. And the incident would not have happened if he wasn't so drunk.
So were you.
No, I was not that drunk.
You just a second. You just told me.
I said I had been drinking.
No. That's not what you said.
Okay.
That's not what you said. You said you ran outside. You ran the wrong way because you were drunk and
well, I was
scared.
Scared, yeah.
No. You said drunk and scared is what you said. He was drunk. You were drunk. I have no idea about her. That's what happens when you get drunk. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? That's what happens when you have a wild drinking party at your house.
But I was at my house.
I don't care if you were in your house.
He came to my house with his buddies and jumped me.
No.
He's not saying that his buddies were there.
Listen to me. You let him into your house. You may not have liked what happened once he was there. I don't know what was going on. Everybody was drinking, brawling. Everybody was, who knows what they were doing in the bathroom, in the kitchen.
Party.
Listen to me, sir. You let him into your house. You had too much to drink. He had too much to drink. You picked up a gun, licensed, I'm sure. Is that right?
Yes, the police officers have all this on record.
Good. He takes off. You take off after him. He doesn't know whether you still have the gun. Confront each other according to you. And the fight was on.
He's not telling a vital part. He had a bunch of buddies with him. He brought a whole gang of guys that started ruining my house. He didn't get thrown through. He threw my buddy through a table.
You just told me you ran out after him to get a license plate.
Because they...
That's what you told me.
Yes.
And You had already, in your bedroom, picked up a gun. He was fleeing. You had not been injured up until that point. Is that correct?
The gun never left the house. He brought a gang of people into my house. If someone comes to your house and invades your house...
Macklin, call the police.
I couldn't. They were beating me up. They were beating me up, and they threw a friend of mine through a glass coffee table.
Listen, Mr. Macklin, I wasn't born yesterday, sir. You just told me 2 seconds ago that you were inside with this young lady in your bedroom playing on the computer,
Correct.
on the internet.
Correct.
In the same moment that you were playing on the computer on the internet, you go into your bedroom, you call the police, and you say, a group of people have just invaded my house.
That's not the way it happened. He came crashing through the bedroom. He came through with his buddies and started beating me up.
You're going to have an answer for everything. You're not going to have an answer for me. If you allow a drunken brawl to get going in your house, and then later you have a fight with him, and you get the worst of the fight because he bites you during the course of the fight, what do you want from me?
That's not what happened.
Goodbye. The case is dismissed. Next time, make sure that you don't invite people who you don't know to your house.
Excuse me, step out.
I've suffered. I've half my ear bitten off.
I don't feel it's right that I bit his ear off, but I don't feel it's right that they can jump me and pull a gun on me.
I have doctor's bill. I have cosmetic surgery that needs to be done.
I was scared. I had to do what I had to do.
You know, I just need to be careful on who I invite over my house from now on.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hastaba versus Lupo, step forward, please.
21-year-old accountant Nicole Hastaba is suing her ex-fiancé, 26-year-old mechanic Christopher Lupo, for his share of a wedding that never happened.
Mrs. Hastaba, you and the defendant have been engaged to be married. And according to your complaint, you broke the engagement for whatever reason, and you had an agreement with the defendant that you were each going to contribute to the wedding.
Correct.
You put down certain deposits on things for the wedding, and when the engagement was broken, the defendant refused to pay you half of the deposits, which was your agreement. In addition, you purchased a wedding dress that you claimed that you stored or left at the defendant's mother's home that he refuses to return to you. Mr. Lupo says that you did have an agreement that you were going to share the costs of the wedding, correct?
Yes, correct.
But when you broke the engagement, you kept everything. I don't know what everything is. And in addition, you kept the engagement ring.
Correct.
So he's not paying for anything, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so you really want the engagement ring back, right?
Yeah. Yes.
You're a quick learner. Did you want your dog?
No, she could keep it. Just the point, like, if I wanted to take it back, she wouldn't have gave it to me anyway, but, you know, she can keep it.
Mr. Lupo, do you want your dog? The answer is no, she could keep the dog.
She could keep the dog.
But you want your personal items back?
Yes.
And the engagement ring?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have his personal items? It's not an answer,
I
madam.
do have some of his clothes at the house.
Well, tell me, what do you have?
Maybe some sweatpants. I mean, it's
Do
really nothing.
you have a jacket?
worth- I didn't see the leather jacket. I did look for it, and I didn't find it.
Now, where's the engagement ring?
I have the engagement ring. I told him I'll give it back to him. I have no problem giving it back to him as long as I get the money for from the deposits. But I did pay $300 towards the engagement ring, and I have that also.
Did she pay some money towards the engagement ring, Mr. Lupo?
Yes, she did.
How much was the ring?
$2,700, $2,500.
I'm trying to resolve this, Mr. Lupo, and I don't want you to. I don't want you to think that this is an interview for The Sopranos. Do you understand? It is not. It is not. So we're going to try to behave like this is a courtroom, and this is a serious piece of business.
She has the receipts.
Mr. Lupo, do you understand what I'm saying to you, sir?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do, because I'm sure that you don't talk the way you're talking to me if you go and you're talking to a priest. Do you understand? You understand? You try to act respectfully, which is exactly what I expect. I expect you to act as if you would talk. Strike that. I expect you to talk as if you were talking to a doctor who just told you that he thought you had a terminal illness. Okay? Does that settle it down for you?
Yes.
Good. Perfect. Now, how much was the engagement ring, sir?
It was around $2,700.
Is that correct?
I wasn't there when he bought it.
Fine. Is it a nice ring? Do you have it with you?
I don't have it with me, no.
Fine. $2,700. And she gave you $300 towards the ring?
Yeah, because she wanted to change the diamond.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yes. Next time you get engaged, sir, don't let your fiancé give you anything towards the ring. It's tacky, especially when you're spending so much for the ring.
Well, I thought she would have been happy with the diamond I gave her, but she wanted to change it. So.
That should have been something that gave you a ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling. Okay. So far we're down to $2,400 that the ring was worth. Now, how much were the deposits that you put down?
Half of it is $2,100.
Okay, $2,100.
$2,110.
And Does your mother have her wedding dress?
I'm not sure. I'll be honest with you, I don't know where it is.
I'm sure she has it. If that's where you put the wedding dress, right, you gave it to his mother.
I left it at his house because I figured it would be better kept there.
So you have to get the wedding dress back. Do you understand? You're going to get the engagement ring back because we're going to resolve this very fast because clearly you two folks are not in love anymore, right? Well, at least if you are still in love, you're going to start at ground zero so that you can start building on this lovely relationship again if you so choose. Once you get back the engagement ring, you don't want to give it to anybody else, so you're going to sell it. Then you'll have some money to give her back for the deposits. Is that reasonable?
That's reasonable.
There you go. Look how happy you are. Now, you're going to look very, very hard for his personal property. You have some sweaters that belong to him. He's looking for his jacket. He wants his jacket back in addition to the engagement ring. Clear?
Yes.
Now, you are going to get your $2,100 24 hours after he gets his clothes and his engagement ring. Do you understand?
Yes.
You're going to give her the $2,100 soon as
I get my stuff, she can have it. No problem.
And you're going to get your stuff 5 days from today. 6 days from today, she gets her $2,100.
Sounds good.
Happy?
Yes.
Happy?
Can I just ask one question, Your Honor?
Yes.
What about the $300 that was put towards the ring? I didn't include that with the...
No, just a second.
Oh, okay.
You're absolutely right, because he's getting it back. So we have to add that on to the $2,100.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Sounds fair.
By the way, just for my own interest, why did you put $300 towards the ring? Is it true you wanted a different stone?
We changed the diamond.
You wanted a different diamond. Not we changed the diamond. He doesn't know anything about diamonds. Trust me, he knows nothing about diamonds.
It looked nice.
It looked nice. It looked nice. You wanted a different diamond,
Yes.
right? And he agreed.
Yes.
Fine. Then you agreed. Nice guy. So $2,400. What else?
My records, my DJ equipment.
Everything that belongs to him.
I'll give him everything back.
You give him everything back because one day after he gets everything back, you get your money.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you don't get your money. Right?
Yes.
Right? So now he's going to get everything back. Goodbye. Good luck. Have a happy life.
Alden versus Lenore. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks have seats.
Officer Bird, would you find out if this gentleman has a medical condition that requires him to have that thing around his head?
Looks like the answer is no.
Thank you very much. It is your claim that the defendant firebombed your car and also cut the wires to your satellite television all over some guy. The defendant says she did no such thing and you're really crazy. I assume this is somebody that you are either with or used to be with, is that right?
Used to be with.
And what's that person's name?
Deontay Crenshaw.
Deontay?
Uh-huh.
Is that person here today?
Mm-hmm. He's over there.
The person with the medical condition?
Yes.
When were you with this gentleman?
Up until she set the car on fire.
And when was that?
June 10th.
Of 2003?
Mm-hmm.
And is that the same date that your satellite dish wires were cut?
Yes.
Now, when was he your boyfriend?
He's always been my boyfriend. She was not with him. We lived together. We've been together since '98.
Are you employed?
Yes, I am.
What do you do for a living?
Account rep at AT&T.
And you?
I lost my job due to her setting the car on fire because I wasn't able to go to work.
So you're not employed now?
No.
What does he do?
He works at Motel 6.
Doing what?
He's head of housekeeping.
What makes you think that she firebombed your car and did all of these other things to your house?
Okay. The car was set on fire Monday night. Sunday, she popped up on my front porch. I don't know how.
She came to your front porch?
Yes. I don't know how she got my address, but she popped up on my front porch. She was trying to plead her case about him and her or whatever.
So you spoke to her directly?
Yes.
That must have been June 9th.
No, you're right.
June 8th.
June 8th?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the right date, June 8th?
June 8th.
So June 8th, she came to your house.
Mm-hmm.
And what did she say to you?
She never said her name. She said, I'm Deontay's baby mama.
I'm Deontay's baby's mama.
Yep, that's what
no,
she said.
that's not
That's
true,
what
Your
she
Honor.
said.
You're going to have to turn in
That's
a minute.
fine.
And why are you bothering with him?
Huh.
Pretty much.
Yeah, uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And you said?
I said, okay, I have nothing to do with your relationship between you and him. We have our own thing, whatever, and that's that.
So that was June 8th.
Mm-hmm.
What happened on June 9th?
June 9th, she was calling, and so when I answered the phone, She said, put Deontay on the phone.
Okay, so she wanted to speak to Deontay. Did you call her house?
No.
Okay. So
I personally went to her house Sunday.
He was at your house? In the middle of the night. So he was sleeping there. Why were you sleeping at her house?
Because I was over her house. I was sleeping. I was over there.
Shh. I don't want to hear anything. Stand up. What were you doing over at her house instead of being at home with Miss Lenoir and your son?
I was over her house cheating.
Well, actually, I had put him out that Sunday.
Yeah, we wasn't together.
Yeah, so I had put him out Sunday.
Why did you put him out Sunday?
Because the phone calls started coming, and I kept telling him, you know, this female keeps calling my house saying she's sleeping with you. If I find out it's true, you know, I don't have any proof, so I'm going to leave it alone. Sunday, I received a call, I'm sleeping with your man. I took the number off caller ID. I called 411, got the address. I went to her house because my friend stayed down the street. And I told her, look, he's not going to be there anymore. No need for you to call me. I don't need him. I work such and such. I don't need a man to take care of me.
You especially don't need him.
Exactly. So after I confronted her, she said, me and him has this. And I said, well, you know, if you don't mind sleeping with somebody else's man, that's you. But he's no longer going to be with me. So
leave me alone.
Yeah, and I said, he can come live with you now. And that's what I told her.
Now I'd like to hear the proof that you have that the defendant firebombed your car.
I have pictures of the car.
I'll take a look at the pictures. The pictures are one thing. What proof do you have that she did it?
She also told me she did it also because she was calling my house.
That's not true.
She was calling my house.
But she's not. I don't believe she told you she did it.
Exactly.
I have a witness right here, my next door neighbor.
Which witness do you have?
Eric. He didn't actually see her set the
Eric,
fire.
you want to stand up here?
Yes,
Eric, in your shorts. You thought you were going to a basketball game today. Come up here. Move over there, Eric. Put those photographs for me, please.
Sure.
Could I say something?
No, I want to hear Eric. And Eric, you're a neighbor?
Yes, I'm a neighbor.
And this firebombing happened in the middle of the night?
Well, on that day, I was doing some drywall for my brother. I do, you know, drywall and lay. I was doing his house. It was like about 2:30 at night. And I happened to go in the back. I seen the young lady out there slicing the tires. So I'm just looking at it, and I'm figuring that it's probably just she ain't got mad at her boyfriend or something, you know, and just cutting the tires. So I'm just standing up there looking at it. So she looked at me, you know what I'm saying? I looked at her, and she went on back down the alley. So I proceeded to keep working. So I figured I was going to go on there and just close up that night. So I went back on the front. I see her tan car parked across the street right there. And I'm just standing on the porch. And she kind of like looked and kind of sit in her car for a minute. And then she drove off, but I never seen it no more.
So you didn't see her firebomb the car?
No, I didn't see her firebomb come.
Good. Thank you. Sit down.
Your Honor, can I say something, please? Okay.
I'd like your next witness.
This is my roommate. She was there when she popped up on the front. I never called this woman house or anything like that.
Is there something you're not understanding? I would like you to bring on a witness who saw her firebomb your car. You have anything to contribute to this case at all, or yes or no? The answer is yes or no.
Yes.
Do it fast.
The morning of the car that was on fire, my cousin, Lachey, came and woke me up, and I walked up on the back porch. I seen her and Deontay sitting on the back porch looking at the car. He apologizing to my cousin about how his baby mama set the car on fire and what she did or whatever, saying that he was going to help my cousin pay for the car and everything, which he didn't.
Is that right?
I told her I apologized for the car being burnt. What happened to her mama car?
Could you speak slowly so that I could understand this, please? You apologized to who for what?
I apologized to her for her mama car being burnt. I shouldn't apologize if it's supposed to be all over me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Possible somebody else could have firebombed your car. I don't know how many people he was with. How many people were you with, Deontay?
10.
What?
Just them two.
No.
And later today,
It's your claim that Mr. Turner stole your equipment.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I say something, please? The Lord said that he wanted to donate them equipment to the ministry.
Very good.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Lachey Bowden says the mother of her ex-boyfriend's child, Teresa Lenore, firebombed her car.
Is he still living with you?
Not really, no. He keeps our son every day. He comes to my house and keeps him every day while I'm at work.
When does he work?
He works at night and on weekends.
So then, it wasn't true when you said to her that he's not going to be at your house anymore, don't bother to come over, because he is there every day.
Well, not living. That's what I was trying to tell her. You don't have to call to see if he's there, you know.
Where does he live?
At his mom.
So is what you're telling me, you don't have an intimate relationship anymore?
Not anymore, no.
Is that right?
Correct.
Well, Deontay has to be with somebody. And I don't know how many people he was with. He could have been with her. How many people were you with, Deontay?
10.
What?
Just them two.
No. It's possible somebody else could have firebombed your car.
No, it was only her. She kept calling and everything. She called my house when he comes to her house. After he leave my house, he goes to her house. She calls me tomorrow, Deontay is here. Then she was hollering him in the background stating, you made me do it. You shouldn't have lied. You made me do it. You shouldn't have lied. She wouldn't have said it if she wouldn't have done it.
Your Honor, can I speak, please?
Yes.
She's lying. There's no way. If I'm going to do something, which is so stupid, I wouldn't tell her that I've done it.
Ms. Lenore, you appear to be an intelligent young woman. The only unintelligent thing that I know about you is him. I don't understand why someone who holds a responsible position, maintains themselves, takes care of their children, why they would do something so crazy as to commit arson, which is really what this is. Because what you're accusing her of is really a criminal act.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume you filed a police report.
Mm-hmm. I have copies.
I would like to see the police report that you filed and their follow-up.
And also, it's my mother's car, and she's still paying on that car.
Stand up here. You. Sit down. You, up here. How long have you known the plaintiff?
Well, I don't really know her.
You knew her enough to come to court with her, is that
Yeah,
right?
somebody told me that she wanted to, talk to me.
Okay. And when did you tell somebody for the first time that you had witnessed somebody slashing her tires?
She had came to me and said, asked me what my name and stuff like this. I need to talk to you. I'm like,
When?
It was the next day.
Well, this police report is interesting because the police report said that they canvassed the entire area for suspects and witnesses to no avail.
He doesn't live at that apartment next door. He works on
You
the
don't have to
apartment
live
next
there. You call the police and you say, I have a witness.
Right. I didn't know he said anything when I called the police.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Go ahead.
We went to the police department, and they said, this so-called witness that you say you have, if he's not, a good witness, you all are going to get in trouble for falsifying information. They asked for proof of was she harassing me. She told them I was doing all these things to her. She had no proof. They listened to my answer machine, which I tried to save. It erases after 15 days. They heard all of these threats on my answer machine from her. That day, she was held at jail. They released me. They said she had no proof. I would not do it.
Well, I don't believe that there's sufficient proof to establish to my satisfaction, in any event, the allegations that you make against the defendant, that she firebombed your car, that she cut the wires on your satellite dish. It's possible that she did it. It's also possible that he's got a string of girlfriends that you know absolutely nothing about who are just as annoyed as she was. In any event, you sound to me, Madam, Miss Lenore, as if you deserve better. I don't know if you're going to look for better, but it sounds to me like you deserve somebody who is at least prepared to act responsibly. That's not him. The case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think she got it basically where she deserved, which was nothing. I didn't do it, and I'm just glad it's over with.
This is not going to end. This is not going to end. She started harassing me about this man. There's a problem. There's something wrong with her.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of O'Neill versus Turner. Step forward, please.
22-year-old warehouse worker Larry O'Neill is suing his former pastor, Bishop Kendrick Turner, for the return of his music equipment. Kendrick says Larry donated the items to the church.
Mr. O'Neill, according to what I read in your complaint, you joined the defendant's church. What kind of church was that?
It was Joe's Outreach Temple.
And did they have a formal place in which they worshipped?
Yes, they worshipped in a building, and then they moved into their house.
You mean their house where they lived?
Yes.
And you had some musical equipment
Yes, ma'am.
that you used and allowed the church to use.
Yes, ma'am.
When you decided to leave the church, you wanted your equipment back, and it's your claim that Mr. Turner stole your equipment. Mr. Turner says that you made a donation to the church, and you can't have it back. What brought you to the defendant's church?
He told me that he was helping people out with music to do music, gospel music, and I was doing gospel music at the time, and I decided to join his church for him to help me get my music put out, and he told me that he would help me with my music career.
So he's a preacher and an entrepreneur. Do you help people with their music career, sir?
I'm not going to say entrepreneur, but what I do is I help a lot of local gospel artists get out there.
When you say get out there, you mean get out there and
Yes,
earn
ma'am.
money?
Yes, ma'am.
Being sort of like an agent.
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you get the equipment from, Mr. Turner?
From his house, because he said that the Lord said that he wanted to donate the equipment to the ministry.
Okay. Now, when did he say that, sir?
It was 2003. It had to be in January, ma'am.
Are you a non-for-profit organization?
Yes, we are. We're tax exempt. And
as of when?
As of when, I do not have that.
Give me a year.
It was last year, 2002, when the church started.
And you operate this church out of the house where you live?
Ma'am, we originally...
Just answer my question.
Yes, ma'am.
How large a house is it? What are you looking it up for? You live there.
I'm not sure about the size, ma'am.
How many bedrooms does it have?
We have 2 bedrooms, yes, ma'am.
And the church operates out of what room?
Out of the front room, ma'am.
Now, where do you do your agenting?
What I do is I normally run ads and stuff in the paper, and I allow people to come to my home.
So you do both your agenting work, sir, and your ministry work out of the front room in your house, in
Yes,
your 2-bedroom house?
Yes, ma'am.
When was it that Mr. O'Neill made the donation? January of 2003?
Yes, ma'am.
And when was it that Mr. O'Neill...
It wasn't January.
Well, step up and tell me what date it was. You're his wife, so you probably have a better memory.
It was, because I keep the records, it was January when he came into the ministry, but it was around April. It was a couple of months after that.
So it was April that he made the donation.
Right.
Thank you. Sit down. And when was it, Mr. Turner, that Mr. O'Neill asked for his property back?
It was just recently ago.
So that would have been about a month later.
Yes, ma'am.
1 month later, he asked for it back.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, why, Mr. O'Neill, did you ask for your equipment back, sir?
Because it belongs to me.
And you were no longer interested in being part of the ministry?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you, Mr. O'Neill?
22 years old.
Have you ever been under psychiatric care?
I have supposed to been going for medical treatment.
What kind of medical treatment, Mr. O'Neill?
For a psychiatric problem.
Are you currently taking any medication?
No, ma'am.
How you doing? Are you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty fine.
Are you living with your parents?
I'm about to start. I just moved out on my own, and my parents, I think they want me to stay with them, so I might stay back home with them.
Okay. You're his father? Would you step up here for a second, Mr. O'Neill?
Baby, go ahead.
Who purchased this musical equipment for him?
Well, we all purchased it together, but it was his equipment. And actually, when it left my home, I had no knowledge that it left.
When are you planning on having your son come home to live
He's
with
been
you?
home for the last 3 weeks right now. I have an appointment for him for psychiatric help on the 10th of this month.
Okay.
And I have him close to home.
Very good. I'm glad to hear that. Mr. Turner, I want you to listen to me very, very carefully,
Yes,
sir.
ma'am.
3 days from today, Mr. O'Neill and his son are coming to pick up all of his musical equipment. You will have it all ready for them. Do you understand me?
Yes, ma'am. I have no problem with that, ma'am.
Very good. I am not suggesting that you took advantage of Mr. O'Neill, and certainly someone who is a minister would not want to take advantage of someone who was not necessarily in a psychological position to make a gift. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good.
Can I say something, please? Because I think I do not have the right to give that back because he said the Lord. Hold it. He said that the Lord said. You know, I take that very seriously when somebody said the Lord said. You know.
I want you to take this more seriously, Mr. Turner. I say that you're supposed to return it 3 days from today. Do we understand each other?
I have no problem.
Good.
With that.
That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have seats, please.
Miss Kidd, you and Mr. Thorpe lived together for 9 years, according to your complaint, and you have a child together.
Yes, ma'am.
Well over a year ago, Mr. Thorpe, according to you, was involved in an accident. He was drunk, and he had a bad accident, and he totaled your car.
Yes, ma'am.
You want him to be responsible for the insurance deductible, which you were ultimately charged. Mr. Thorpe was in the hospital for a substantial period of time after the accident. Is that right, sir?
Yes.
In addition, since you separated shortly after the accident, which was, again, was well over a year ago, you say that he took a car collection, not a real car collection, a miniature car collection, that belonged to both of you, and you want half the value of that.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what the case is about. Mr. Thorpe says that for a variety of reasons, you're even. So let's get the facts that we can agree on first. Mr. Thorpe, you were driving the plaintiff's car, you were drunk, you were in an accident, and there was an insurance deductible. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
And what was the deductible?
I believe $440.
Is that right?
No, ma'am, it's $455.
So why shouldn't you pay that?
Well, Your Honor, I have a outstanding cable bill here for $414.39 that I had left in her name after we had separated, and asked her to pay that when she had told me that it was not in her name and that it was not her problem.
When did you separate? What month?
I believe it was November.
And when was that bill?
It was for 4 months after I had moved out.
4 months after?
After I had moved out.
Is that right?
Yes.
Why didn't you pay that bill?
Ma'am, it was for a box that I turned in. I did not bring the paperwork with me. They said I did not turn it in. And I did turn it in. So, and I did pay my last month's bill there.
You have proof that you paid that bill?
Not with me, ma'am. I did not know he was going to counterclaim on this.
You didn't? Well, did he file a counterclaim?
No, ma'am.
How come you didn't file a counterclaim, Mr. Thorpe?
I did not have time, Your Honor.
Well, then that's too bad. Then I'm not going to hear that. Because if she didn't have notice of it, Mr. Thorpe, then what happens is she doesn't have the opportunity to bring her evidence.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. So fine. So $455 is what you owe so far for the insurance deductible. Now, she also says that you owe her additional money for this NASCAR collection. So I'd like you to tell me about that, Miss Kidd.
Well, we've acquired this NASCAR collection. What had happened is on his 30th birthday, I had planned a surprise party for him, and I had bought him one. And after that, that's when we started to collect them. I wasn't really into it at first, but with us being together, I got into it more and more. And whenever we went shopping, we'd pick cars that both of us would, whether it be at the local Walmart or at the race.
So when he left, he took the collection?
Yes, ma'am.
You were together for 9 years. When the two of you separated, Miss Kidd, what else did he take with him?
Well, he took a pool table, a pickup truck that we had bought together, a fishing boat, a stereo receiver, DVD player, a theater system, like the surround sound system, tools, and miscellaneous videos and DVDs.
And what did he leave? Let me go through this, because you're going to probably say he didn't leave much. Did he leave the living room furniture?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he leave the bedroom furniture?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he leave your daughter's furniture?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he leave the kitchen furniture?
Yes.
Did he leave the washer-dryer?
Yes, ma'am.
So he left a lot of stuff. He left more stuff than he took. Is that a fair statement?
Correct.
He left, really, it sounds to me, like he left you in a situation where you would be comfortable with your child.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
You didn't expect him to walk out of a 9-year relationship with nothing.
No, ma'am, and I didn't. And I explained that to him. But the items I have, they're not like items that we had, they're not new. A lot of these things we bought, like the NASCAR collection, that didn't start within when we first started dating.
What difference does it make?
Well, I'm just saying.
The difference is,
right.
Miss Kidd, is that wherever Mr. Thorpe went, and I don't know where he went after he left, where did you go?
I'm living with my mother at the time, Your Honor.
Okay. But if he had to go and start to furnish an apartment, he would need a living room set, and a bedroom set, and a place for his daughter to come and spend time with him. And he'd need a kitchen table, and he'd need a washer-dryer, which means he'd have to go out and buy that stuff. What makes you think you're entitled to this NASCAR set?
Because when he moved out, he wasn't, he really wasn't keeping up on his child support.
That's a different story.
He's been behind on, I know it is, he's been behind on his child support. I like to keep extra money in the bank, so if something, I have Crohn's disease.
And if I had to go to the hospital, I'm not there for overnight. I'm there for at least 3 to 5 days because they have to run tests on me. And so I'd like to try to have a little bit of spare money in the bank, so if I have to pay rent, I will have enough money there.
Is he currently paying child support?
Yes, ma'am. But he's $2,000 plus in the rears.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I want a nice truck to drive too. I also have a truck payment, but I also pay rent for our daughter to live somewhere.
Good. So you're a parent.
And later today,
You know, the first was the next day. Had to move out.
Did she tell you that?
You know, she called me stupid and everything.
Just a second. Mr. Pulley.
He was on drugs. So.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Lorinda Kidd says ex-boyfriend Robert Thorpe Jr. owes for an insurance deductible and for the value of a collection of NASCAR miniatures.
How much do you pay every month, sir?
$670 a month.
What kind of work do you do?
Construction.
Okay, so you fell a little behind, but he owes $2,000?
Well, Your Honor.
But he pays almost $700.
Correct, Your Honor, but also he went out and got a brand new truck, at least a brand new truck, and that was one of his complaints as to why he could not give me as much child support before he went to court, because he had his truck payment, which I understand. I want a nice truck to drive too. I also have a truck payment, but I also pay rent for our daughter to live somewhere. I pay gas, I pay water.
That's what you're supposed to. You're a parent. He owes you $455, and that's for the deductible that you had to pay when he was in an accident with your car. But as far as property is concerned, when people decide to get married so that courts have the opportunity of deciding what equitably belongs to each party, that's what we have courts for. We do not have courts for people who live together. They lived together for 9 years. You kept some stuff, he kept some stuff, and I'm not getting involved. Thank you very much. This case is over.
Why is that excuse? You may step out.
I'm glad that I walked away not losing anything, really.
I think I got cheated. I should have deserved half of that NASCAR collection because I paid for half of it.
I'd like to get along with her and see my child.
Well, he's welcome to see his daughter anytime. He just doesn't come around.
I'm just glad it's over and like to move on.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pulley versus Rayford. Step forward, please.
Security guard Dennis Pulley is suing his sister, bus driver Valerie Rayford, for the value of his personal property.
Mr. Pulley, the defendant is your sister, and it is your claim that your sister recklessly disposed of your personal property that was in your mother's apartment after your mother's death. Your sister says she got rid of your property, but she did her best to notify you where you could find it, and she was as careful as she could have been under the circumstances. Where were you living, sir, at the time of your mother's death?
I was living at my mother's place, my mother's apartment.
How long had you been living with your mother?
Maybe 2.5 years, close to 3 years, and I had went into a drug program. I was in there for approximately about 11 months, and then I graduated, and I was staying basically there back and forth with my mother's, but most of my stuff was at my mother's house.
At the time of your mother's death, were you still in the program?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it a residential program?
Yes.
So there would be times when you would get out of the residential program and go and stay with your mother?
Yes, ma'am.
And a lot of your personal property was at your mom's house?
Most of it was there, yes, ma'am.
When did your mother pass away?
It was the end of January. She was buried January the 25th. She passed away 4 or 5 days before then.
Do you have the exact date, Miss Rayford, that your mother passed away?
She passed away on the 25th of January. She was buried on the 31st of January. Can I say something, Your Honor?
Not yet. How long had your mother lived in this apartment, Mr. Pulley?
Your Honor, I'm not sure. When I was dealing with my drug problem, my mom's asked me to come to California because she knew some drug rehabs, you know, that I can go to. So when I came to California, she had been living there. So
how long ago was that?
Maybe 2.5 years ago.
How long had your mother been living in this apartment, Miss Rayford?
She lived there for 5 years, approximately.
She had a lease?
Yes, it was low income.
Okay. So, mother passed away on the 25th. She was buried on the 31st.
Yes, ma'am.
From the 25th to the 31st, sir, did you stay in the apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Miss Rayford. Now tell me about your brother's property.
Okay, my nephew was staying on a lease with my mother at the apartment. And I phoned my brother's girlfriend because he was all around. I didn't know where he was. When? I phoned him on the 31st.
The day your mother was buried?
Yes, and I told him.
He didn't come to the funeral?
Yes, he came to the funeral.
Why didn't you speak to him at the funeral?
Well, it was a funeral. We were all, grieving over my mom. So.
Well, you went
But
to
I
the
told
funeral.
him
Did you go someplace after the funeral, after your mother was buried?
The repast was at my house.
Did he come?
Yes, he came to the repast.
So why didn't you discuss it with him then? What you were
I
gonna
did.
do?
I told him that he has to move out by the 1st because, the 1st was the next day. He had to move out.
Did she tell you that?
No, she ain't tell me none of that.
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
It's I can't figure it out, man. This is my sister and I love her. It's like, she called me stupid and everything.
Just a second, Mr. Pulley. So you say you told him at your mother's funeral.
Yes.
That he had to be out by the next day, by the 1st.
Yes. This is what the landlord had told me, that the property that she said wasn't anyone on the lease, and that my brother is not supposed to be there. And she
Right, he had property there. What did you do with his property?
His property is there. I have the property was there since the 16th. February the 16th. He had until the 16th to remove all of his belongings, and I did not remove it.
Just a second. February 16th?
February 16th. The landlord negotiated with me for him to get time for him to remove the property, but he was on drugs.
Had you changed the locks?
I didn't change the locks till till he started selling everything out of my mother's house.
And when was that?
That was like maybe the 12th of February.
Was there any property in your mother's house that you began to dispose of, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
What?
When I was there, I gave my other sister, she asked for the VCR. My brother asked for, he wanted a TV and some pictures and some other things. My daughter asked for some things.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Some other people asked for some things.
What
yes,
other
ma'am.
people?
My brother, my sister-in-law, my daughter, and one of the neighbors across the street.
What did you give
my
to the
sister,
neighbor?
my sister right there. I gave her some of my mom's clothes.
Mr. Pulley, were you put in charge of the disposition of your mother's property?
Well, no, ma'am, I wasn't. I don't believe she left anybody in charge of it.
I have power of attorney. I have proof.
You overstepped your bounds, Mr. Pulley, if you disposed of any of your mother's property. Pay rent on February 1st, Mr. Pulley?
Did I pay rent?
That's my question.
No, ma'am, I never paid. I never had to pay rent living with my mom.
Just a second. Well, your mom was dead, so she wasn't going to pay the rent, Mr. Pulley.
Okay, I understand.
Now, and you knew that your mother was buried on the 31st of January.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said that you were staying in the apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
Who was supposed to pay the rent?
Well, I seen the landlord in the hallway, and I asked her, how long do I have before I have to be out of the apartment? She said till the middle of the month. That's what her exact words was, to the middle of the month.
Well, so you didn't remove your things.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Way before then, I left, and when I came back, the locks was
Where
changed
did
and
you
my
go?
stuff was gone.
What do you mean you left? Where did
I
you
left
go?
out for the day. I came back, and it was gone.
What day did you, Mr. Pulley?
I don't know exactly what day, but I have a paper to show. I went back into the program on the 14th. I have a paper showing the listing that I went back on there. It had to be the 13th that I had went back, and the locks was changed already.
That's what pretty
and
much
I didn't have any clothes.
That's
Yes,
what your sister said. She said she changed the locks
Mhm.
around the 14th, and you had until the 16th to move out. Mr. Pulley, the landlord was giving you a 2-week grace period.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you using drugs the first 2 weeks in February?
No, ma'am. I haven't used since I graduated.
Okay. So you tell me, what arrangements did you make to remove all your property?
I already had arrangements made. I was going back to the program. They was giving me a place back there because I worked security for the program.
So what arrangements did you make with the program?
I was going to have my stuff took in there and put in storage.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
So why didn't you do it before?
I didn't have, when I came back, my stuff, everything was gone. I couldn't even get in the
Talking about the first
house.
week in February, sir. While people were there taking stuff, while you were giving your daughter things. You gave your daughter something.
Yes, ma'am.
You gave cousins. You took care
No,
of clothes.
my brother, my sister
No,
right there.
I got it. I got it. All right. What did you do with his things, Miss Rayford?
I didn't do anything with his things. My nephew was also on the lease, and his mom is here today. And what he did is set the clothes out on the 12th. He set the clothes on.
So you didn't do anything. You didn't touch
did
his
not-
property.
Exactly.
Did Mr. Pulley? Did your sister tell you that she didn't touch your property?
No, she said she said it out there. Actually, I heard on the phone, she was talking to my girlfriend. She said he was stupid and it wasn't nothing but junk anyway. And she said it out there.
That's a lie, Your Honor. It's fabricated.
Whatever.
It's lies.
Whatever. He feels he's hurt. But Ms. Rayford, is what you're telling me you were not responsible for putting his things outside?
No, I wasn't, Your Honor.
And that was your nephew? What's your nephew's name?
Ramon.
Was he on the lease with
Yes.
your mother?
Yes, he was.
Had he been living with your mother?
No.
Why was he on the lease with her?
Well, it was a low income, and when he was a minor, he was on a lease with her when he was a minor, and I guess they never changed it.
Was he living with her?
No, he was not living with her.
Okay. Mr. Pulley, your stuff is gone. Ms. Rayford says that she did not put it out, that it was your nephew who put it out, your nephew who was on the lease with your mother. I can't find her responsible for that.
Can I say that? Excuse me, I haven't cut you
Sure.
off. My nephew ain't been to that house, and my nephew haven't lived there basically since he was a teenager. She is the one that got the lock changed, and she the one that, if she didn't personally pick the bag or pick the stuff up and set it out,
Your Honor.
she told him to put the stuff out.
Mr. Pulley.
Yes, ma'am.
When somebody dies, and your mother died, and I assume that you had she was some comfort to you. You had a drug problem for a long time. She was at least somebody who said, I'll help you,
Yes, ma'am.
Sounds to me as if she didn't give up on you. So you have a feeling of sadness. And I'm sure that your sister not only feels sad that your mother died, but I'm sure she's a little bit, I'm sure aside from loving you, she also feels disappointed that you were a source of sadness for your mother. There are lots of mixed emotions that go on in a family when somebody dies. But it sounds to me like you have a very nice family, and it's just clothes and things. So don't let it interfere with your family permanently, Mr. Pulley.
Your Honor, can I say this before I go?
Sure.
I just want to say she can fool you, but she can't fool God. She set this stuff out. She know what she did, and like I said...
Mr. Pulley, you have to also look to yourself for a certain amount of responsibility. You had a responsibility to get your stuff together and move it out. The landlord gave you an outside date, was being nice to you. So you have to accept a certain amount of responsibility yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't let it interfere with your family.
Has been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Folks have seats.
Mr. Faust, you claim a loan to the defendant for some bad checks that she wrote, and also the return of some property that she has that you claim is really your property. Defendant says there was never a loan, that the property that you claim is yours was really a gift to her, and she has a counterclaim for some harassment nonsense and the return of some animals that she says that you have that belong to her. So let's start with this loan, which is really the big part of this case. Ms. Nowaski, you wrote some bad checks? When?
2 years ago.
And you were dating Mr. Faust at the time?
Yes.
And you agreed to make good on those bad checks?
Yes, I did.
So that she would not either be prosecuted or worse?
Correct.
Tell me about that, sir.
Basically, we started dating in August of '99, and approximately about mid-January of 2001, she came to me that she was served with papers, that was going to go to court, and she had nowhere to go.
Well, what did she say to you?
Basically, that she was in a tight spot. She was upset and crying. We worked at the same place of work, so she came back to my office that day. She was served during lunch, and we went out to lunch, and she was upset about it.
And what did you say to her?
Basically, I was a little upset because she hadn't came to me because this had been going on for several months, and she was evading the companies and the phone calls and even attempting to make payments. So I was a little upset because I was lending her some money here and there that wasn't expected back during this whole time also.
That wasn't expected back? So you were not lending her, you were giving her money?
$10, $15 a week type thing just to help her out for gasoline or for lunch type thing. I was usually paying for the lunch.
What were you doing with all your money?
So...
It's not an answer. What were you doing with your money? If you're working, what were you doing with your money?
I was working. I wasn't making a lot of money, and I was spending too much money. And
On
the
what?
checks went through, and they went bad.
On what?
Clothes, grocery shopping.
Grocery
things like
shopping
that.
you can afford.
Just things like that.
That's not being honest with me.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. You're working, you're paying rent, and you buy groceries. That doesn't make you write bad checks. What makes you write bad checks are things that you shouldn't be buying, other than clothes. What else?
CDs, just stuff like that.
Okay. So he made good on your checks?
Yes.
So why do you feel as if you shouldn't pay him back?
We didn't have an agreement that I would pay him back.
What was your agreement?
He came to work. I had the papers. He came to my work and said that he would call him and take care of it. So he called him up and
he wouldn't have known
paid it.
about it. Listen to me. He didn't come into your office one day and say, let me see those papers. What happened is you contacted him and told him that you got served with a summons.
Right.
Is that right?
Yes.
And was that during the day, during business hours?
Yes.
So you were pretty upset.
Yes.
What did he say to you when you said you were crying and you were pretty upset?
He said he would take care of it. That's exactly what he said. He said.
And what did you say to him?
I didn't know what to do. I said, okay. He called them up and he paid them for me.
Mm-hmm. Why should he do that for you?
Because he loved me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And is that why you let him do it?
I let him do it because I had nothing else that I could do.
Do you love him now?
No.
Then why don't you pay him back?
We never had an agreement to. He has constantly, first it was $600 he wanted, and then it was $1,000, then it was $1,400.
How much were your checks, the bad checks?
It was $600.
Show me.
I don't have a copy of it.
Show me how much amount of the total bad checks.
125.01 was the first check, and that following week I had called them to let them know that.
Who's them?
URS. And they had told me how much it was, the $600, which was in the packet. So I told them, well, I'm about $100 short. I'll have to call you on Tuesday. I called them on Tuesday to let them know you can clear that check through because they're going to do it electronically. What it came down to is where her checks had gone to. She had a credit card that had gone bad or something, and so she was being collected after a credit card. So when I called on Tuesday, he said, well, we have a problem. I had 4 more come in since I talked to you on Thursday.
Were there any other bad checks that you covered?
Yes, there was.
So she's a bad check writer.
Yes. So I had she had another $644.98 to Valley Empire Collections go through.
Let me see.
And I agreed to only loan her a portion of it, and that was a $349. And she had told me that she would try to get the other $259 from her grandmother, which, from what I gather, she did because the next couple months she was paying her grandmother back.
Did you pay your grandmother?
Yes, I did, and he didn't pay any of that. He told me that he was not going to help me out on that
well,
one.
here he's got his card here.
Right. On that one that he's talking about, I called
He's got the receipt.
He didn't pay any of that one.
Who did?
My grandmother did.
Got the receipt here for $349.62.
I didn't get any money from him on that one.
So let me ask you this question, madam. For all these bad checks, how much did you end up paying?
I would say probably $2,000 to $3,000. I got myself in a lot of trouble.
$2,000 to $3,000?
Yes.
Well, he paid $1,428 for you. You mean in addition to that, you paid an additional $2,000 or $3,000?
Yes.
Starting when and to whom?
Starting about 2 years ago, about 6 months after we started dating each other.
So you mean that there were bad checks that you didn't tell him about?
Yes.
Really? Mm-hmm. Did you know that, sir?
No, I wasn't. This is the first I've heard of this, other than when...
Really? Do you have any proof of that?
No, I don't.
Really?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He bought me a rabbit, a goose, and a duck.
Listen, your smile goes Zippo with me. That goes nowhere.
And later today...
The chants and the chimes and things are playing. And I and my friend are looking at one another saying, you know what, this may not work out.
It's not a hotel.
What is it?
It's a spiritual community.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Brian Faust says ex-girlfriend Noelle Nowaski owes for a loan to pay off her bounced checks and for the return of a gun. Noelle says Brian won't return her rabbit, her goose, and her duck.
Now you want to tell me about this gun that you want back?
Basically, on the gun I'd purchased on my birthday, my 27th birthday, July 1st of 2000.
What kind of gun?
It's a Jennings 38. I'd bought it for myself, took it to her house, had wrapped it up at her house on my birthday, and unwrapped it as a present to myself.
So you unwrapped the gun as a present to yourself, and what'd you do with it?
Gave it to myself.
You gave it to yourself? And
Gave it to myself. It was my own birthday present on my birthday.
Right. How did it wind up in her house?
Because end of July, we had gone out shooting, and she said she'd take it home and clean it and get familiar with firearms a little more. So, and then after that, I let her borrow it when she'd go out shooting with just her brother or her father.
After July of 2001, are you telling me that the gun remains in her possession?
I had it back about 3 times.
For a day?
For like a weekend.
And then you'd return it to her?
And then she'd call me up and want to go out shooting again. So I let her take that because it was a lower caliber. So I let her
Now
possess
I'll hear
it.
your side of the story with regard to the gun.
That was my 21st birthday present. My birthday is July 12th, just 2 weeks after his birthday. He came over for my birthday. My brother, my mother, my dad was there, and he was giving me my gifts, and one of them was the gun.
Did the gun remain pretty much in your possession all
Yes.
during that time?
Yes, it's been in my father's gun locker ever since then.
And what about this mattress?
I've been doing search and rescue for Spokane. I've got double of everything because I got a 24-hour pack and a 72-hour pack.
At some point, it came into her possession. You want to tell me your version
It came
of how
into
that
possession in 2001 of July because we were out camping last year. And I had shown up where they were camping, and I brought some extra camping gear, my tent and
It's
sleeping
been
pads.
in her possession
It's been in
for
her
a year.
possession for a year because I had to leave and go to work the next morning, and she was using it
over it,
still
Mr.
for the next night.
Get over it, Mr.
So,
Faust.
that's fine.
Get over that. By the way, do guns have to be registered in the state
Yes,
where
they
you
are.
live?
I have a copy of all that.
Can
and a
I see
picture.
Can I see the registration, please?
And then I also, on July 2nd, had made a stolen gun report.
You have a carry permit to
Yes,
carry?
I do, Your Honor.
Do you have a carry permit?
No, I do not.
You return the gun to him.
Thank you.
You understand that? Perfect. $14.28 is what you owe him for your bad checks. Now,
Also on
and the
that,
gun.
it's actually less because after we broke up, she sent me 2 money orders,
In what amount?
20 each.
$13.88. Okay. Now, taking care of the gun's going back, the mattress stays with her. The harassment charge, because he drove by your work a couple of times, I'm not even entertaining, madam. The only thing I'm entertaining are these animals that you say that he has that belong to you. What animals do you say that he has that belong to you?
He bought me a rabbit, a goose, and a duck, and we kept them up at his house because I could not keep them in my yard, and he will not give them back.
Well, are you living in the same place now that you were living
Yes.
before? So if you couldn't keep them in your yard before, what makes you think you can keep them in your yard now?
I can't.
So what do you want them for?
They're mine.
What are you going to do with them? Listen, your smile goes Zippo with me. That goes nowhere. If I give them back to you, what do you intend to do with them?
I'm going to take them to, my cousin has a farm in Montana,
And where do you live?
Spokane Valley, in the city.
All right, so you're going to get on a plane with your duck.
No, I'm driving down there next week.
Really? And what do you do with the animals, sir?
I live on a farm, Your Honor.
Fine, you keep them.
Thank you.
There's something wrong with her. You got out just in time,
Yes,
so
I
your
did.
counterclaim is dismissed. You have my order on your claim. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He's a controller. He tried to control everything in our relationship.
I found out more info in there before I decided to marry her, so it's good it came to this.
He treated me like I was his daughter more than his girlfriend.
She was wanting me to pay for more stuff than what she was willing to pay for.
He's mad I broke up with him.
No matter how much you think you know somebody or care for somebody, you never know.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Aaron versus Parusha Das. Step forward, please.
22-year-old airline employee Michael Aaron is suing guest house manager Adi Parusha Das for the refund of a room deposit and for the cost to stay at a hotel. Michael says the guest house turned out to be a Hare Krishna commune.
Mr. Aaron, you made a reservation along with a friend to stay at the defendant's hotel.
That's correct.
Where is his hotel located?
New York, in the East Village.
And where were you visiting from?
Columbus, Ohio.
How did you find out about his hotel?
I had a book that listed a lot of hotels, and actually I called a hotel called the Chelsea. Their hotel was full at the time, and they gave me the telephone number to the sanctuary guest room.
And you were looking for an inexpensive hotel.
That's correct.
Okay. Your lawsuit wants following. You went to his hotel. You had prepaid for 2 nights.
Correct.
You didn't like it. You checked into the room. You went elsewhere and found a room in another hotel. You want the defendant to pay the difference between his hotel and the second hotel that you found.
That's correct.
For 2 nights.
Yes, ma'am.
And also the deposit that you gave for both nights.
Well, I have received the deposit from one night. We made an agreement to get my money back from the Sunday night, but I did not receive the $95 back for the Saturday night stay.
When did you arrive at the hotel?
May 25th, a Saturday, around 3 o'clock.
And were you shown the room?
No, not before I paid.
So you paid, and how much did you give him at that point?
$200, $95 a night, plus a $10 room key deposit.
And then you went up to the room?
Correct.
And?
We went in, I and my friend, Mr. Tannehill, went into the room, And we looked at the beds, and there wasn't a television, and there wasn't a telephone or anything, and all you smelled were incense, and there were pictures of Jesus and Buddha, and the chants and the chimes and things were playing. And I and my friend are looking at one another saying, you know what, this may not work out.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michael Aaron is suing guest house manager Adi Purusha Das for the refund of a room deposit and for the cost to stay at a hotel. Michael says the guest house turned out to be a Hare Krishna commune.
I have pictures of the room also, if you'd like to take a look, Your Honor.
I would.
We sat down on the bed, and the bed was as hard as a desk. The mattresses, there was no mattress. And we were aware that there was a full-size bed and a twin-size bed, but they were actually something like bunk beds. And there was a lamp in the room, and that's all there was. And there were a whole lot of
Okay, it was a
scarves
room.
hanging around. Yeah,
It was a room. So you didn't like it. So you and your friend left and went out looking for another hotel.
that's correct.
And you found one.
Correct.
And how much was the hotel that you found?
$159 a night. That was tax included. Came to $322 and some change.
You don't honestly expect him to pay the difference between his room and another hotel room.
Actually, I do, Your Honor. You know, had Mr. Audi given me advance notice, we had no idea what this hotel was. The rules were there's no smoking, and we knew that in advance. No drinking, didn't know that. No eating meat, didn't know that. No guest in the hotel room, we didn't know that. And you couldn't talk after 9 o'clock because there's praying going on, Your Honor. We were not told those rules in advance at all. We didn't sign a no refund slip. We weren't made aware of any no refund policy, and we were not made aware of any cancellation policy. So under those circumstances, I do believe that he owes
He should
me
pay the difference.
the $95.
I'm not talking about the $95, sir. I'm talking about the difference between his hotel room and the hotel room that you ultimately found.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, you don't get that, because that's ridiculous. You found a hotel room that was substantially more expensive, where I'm sure there was a television, right?
Yes.
And a telephone,
Yes, Your Honor.
and a nice shower,
Yes, Your Honor.
and 2 much more comfortable beds,
Yes, Your Honor.
and the cost was a lot more.
Correct.
So, you want your comfort, you pay for it. You didn't plan on eating meat in the room anyway, did you?
What?
Huh?
Well, Your Honor, you know, if you go to a restaurant, you bring something back, you know, it wasn't allowed in the hotel at all.
No. So, I mean, you know. I mean, that wasn't your plan, to, you know.
Not planning on
you
it,
know,
no.
to barbecue a beef in your
No,
room.
not a barbecue.
Now, Mr. Purusha Da, do you have something that you give to your tenants, rules of your hotel?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, we don't.
You don't?
We tell them verbally.
Do you, sir, have a policy in the hotel that you cannot have guests in your room?
No unregistered guests, yes, we do.
In the room?
Yeah.
And do you have a policy in your hotel that there is no talking after 9 o'clock?
No, we don't, Your Honor.
You don't. So you can't talk after 9 o'clock?
Of course.
Well, what is he talking about that you can't talk after 9 o'clock? What kind of rule is he talking
It's
about?
not a hotel.
What is it?
It's a spiritual community. It's like staying in a monastery.
Did you explain that to Mr. Aaron at the time he booked this room?
Mr. Aaron was referred to us by a friend of ours who refers a lot of people to us. The friend, when he was making some protest, he said, nobody told me this, nobody. I said, wait a minute. Charles, did you refer Michael Aaron here? He said, yes. I said, did you tell him where you're sending him? He said, yes. I said, he says, whenever I send any, because this is a very unusual place that we have. It's not an ordinary hotel. Charles said, this is exactly what I tell everybody that I send there, Adi.
Well, that would be hearsay coming from you, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Aaron.
Yes, Your Honor.
I think that you're a trustworthy guy. Were you told what kind of a place you were going to when you made this reservation, sir?
Your Honor, the only thing I was told that it was, they had breakfast in the mornings, it was around $100 a night, and there was no smoking. Those are the rules, and those are the circumstances that I was told about.
Did
in
anybody
advance.
tell you that this was a spiritual community?
No, Your Honor. If I was told that, I wouldn't have been at the hotel. That's simple as that.
Mr. Purusha Da.
Yeah.
Ordinarily, I would say to you, if you ran a hotel, and if Mr. Aaron came to your hotel,
Right.
checked in, didn't like his room, and left, I would say, he is forfeited, you know, that night. He did, in fact, check in. But I believe that he was not told what kind of arrangement this was. And if he was not forewarned as to what kind of an arrangement this was, he should be entitled.
Yeah, this is case number 464 on the calendar in the matter of White versus Askins. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Miss White, the defendant used to be your boyfriend.
Yes, ma'am.
And according to your complaint, he had you falsely arrested
Yes, ma'am.
for violating a restraining order that he had against you, and you want him to pay to the tune of some $5,000 for having you falsely arrested. Mr. Askins says that he could have made an honest mistake.
Yes.
That's your defense. When were you arrested on this violation of the protective order that he had?
29th of August, 2002, ma'am.
And when had he received his protective order?
19th of July, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Askins, why did you feel as if you needed a protective order against Miss White in July?
Because she'd caused problems at work. She's caused problems when I'd go out with my friends. She'd come by friends' houses.
Did she ever damage any of your property?
No, ma'am.
Did she ever assault you or touch you in any way?
No, ma'am.
When had you separated from Miss White?
Around May.
So far, is that correct, that you separated in May?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a final protective order?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you consent to that? Or was there a trial?
There was a trial, ma'am.
When was the trial?
The trial was on the 1st of August, ma'am.
Okay. He filed for a protective order because he said you were harassing him. Then on August 1st, there was a trial on his request for a permanent order for a year or 3 years?
Forever, as far as I knew. It'd be permanent.
Nothing's forever. Let's say for a year. There was a trial. Did you have a lawyer?
No, ma'am.
Did you testify before a judge?
No, ma'am.
How could there be a trial? Did you have a trial in secret somewhere?
We had a trial, ma'am, and we were moved to a different courtroom, to a judge that usually doesn't do restraining orders.
I don't care whether it was a judge. Did you have a trial before a judge and give testimony before a judge?
Mr. Askins did, ma'am.
And what about you?
No, ma'am. He just asked me if I wanted any contact with Mr. Askins, and I stated no. At that time, he made it permanent.
All right, so on 8/1, he was granted a permanent order of protection. Now, Mr. Askins, I want you to tell me what happened on August 29th that caused you to have Miss White arrested.
I was over at a friend's house. It was 2 other friends and myself. We were outside. It was late, probably 2, 3 a.m., something like that. And a car pulled up. A woman got out, started cussing. It looked like Mandy White.
Just a second. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. You're outside, and a car pulled up. Were you sitting outside on somebody's porch? Were you sitting outside on a curb? Were you sitting outside on a grassy knoll? Where were you sitting?
Sitting outside on the porch.
And how far away was the truck?
Probably 30, 40 feet.
And it's dark outside?
Yes, ma'am.
So a truck pulls up, and very slowly you're going to tell me what happened.
A woman got out, started yelling cuss words.
Who got out?
A woman that looked like Mandy White got out, started yelling cuss words. I called the police and told them that I couldn't be 100% certain that it was her, but it did look like her, and the car was like hers. And from there, they arrested her, and the DA picked up the charges against her.
You mean you're sitting 40 feet away, and the person actually got out of the car and started to curse at you, and you couldn't tell that that person was your girlfriend or not?
Not 100% with it being dark.
Miss White, before the 29th of August, could you tell me why you were bothering him?
I wasn't, ma'am.
Why would he think you were bothering him?
I don't know, ma'am.
Where were you on the evening of August 29th?
I was at home asleep, ma'am.
Could you tell me where you were when the police arrested you?
Yes, ma'am. I had left for work that morning at 4:40, and we go to Peterson Air Force Base to pick up a van, and we drive it to Schriever Air Force Base. And I had gotten my weapon, and I was on post already, and my supervisor came and relieved me, and they took my weapon away in front of everybody and said that I needed to go to the commander's office. We went to the commander's office, and they then told me that I was under investigation for disobeying a lawful order, which was to stay away from Mr. Askins. Then they also told me that I had a warrant out for my arrest. So Master Sergeant took me to the sheriff's office in Colorado Springs, and they arrested me at that time. And then the Air Force did an investigation also, and everybody was interviewed and investigated while I was
I'd like
there.
to see the interviews.
Yes, ma'am.
How many friends were you with that night, sir?
2 friends.
Your 2 friends lied to the police, right?
No, ma'am.
Oh, yes, they did. Seen the results of this paperwork and the investigation that was done?
No, I haven't.
Well, I'll tell you that when your two friends told the responding officer, because you called the police and you had some time to talk to your friends before they arrived, your friends told the police that you had all gone outside to smoke a cigarette and that your two friends each told the police that they saw her pull up into the driveway, curse you, scream at you. That's what they told them, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. And so did you. There's nothing in this original report that suggests that you told the police that you weren't quite sure who it was. It looked like Miss White. You and your friends told the police initially that there was no question that it was Miss White. Want me to read you what you said?
Sure.
He, that's you, stated that he went outside to smoke a cigarette, at which time he observed the dark bronze Saturn pull into the driveway. Askins stated that at this time, White opened the driver's door of the vehicle and stepped outside. Askins stated that White then began to curse at him. He stated that after listening to White curse at him, he told her to leave, at which time she did. Where is there any question in that statement that you weren't sure of the identity of the person? Then he goes on to interview, stated that he was watching television when he heard someone yelling. He stated that he got up, looked out the front door, at which time he witnessed White yelling at Askins. And then Mr. also stated that he witnessed White yelling at Askins. And then I have a letter saying that the military has indicated that they will recommend that charges be filed against all three individuals for filing false charges against her. Anything ever happen with that?
Not that I'm aware of.
Mm-hmm. The statements that each of the three of you gave to the responding officer were directly contradictory to the statements that they gave later. That's what it says here. You want to look at this?
No, ma'am, that's okay.
Well, Mr. Askins, how do you respond to that, sir?
That their statements were different?
Mm-hmm.
How were they different?
Well, it's different when you say it could have been my ex-girlfriend, but it was dark and I couldn't be sure. That's different from it was Miss White. No question. That's different. Don't you see it's different?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you think of any reason, Miss White, why Mr. Askins would want to be vicious and vindictive?
Because I broke up with him, ma'am.
Did you?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about it.
We were together for about 6 months, and we had lived together. And he was very, very controlling. He would get upset when I wanted to see my family, and he wouldn't let me go. So I told him we should just be friends, and we were going to sleep in different bedrooms because I had a 2-bedroom apartment. He said that was too weird, and so he moved out. And then he just kept following me, and his truck was parked near my apartment at all times of the night.
Did Miss White break up with you?
It's more of a mutual thing than anything.
Explain it to me.
We were just fighting, weren't really getting along, and
Did she tell you that she wanted just to be friends and that you could share the apartment but not her bedroom? Did she tell you that?
yes. And I did move out and also left like certain items, so like a couch, so she wouldn't be without a couch and stuff like that.
But she broke up with you. She told you she wasn't interested in continuing the relationship as it had been. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, so can you explain to me what would be her rationale? What would motivate her to stalk you if, Mr. Askins, she broke up with you? Tell me why she would come stalking you and cursing you.
I have no idea.
She's not psychotic, is she?
I don't know.
Are you?
No.
Miss White, I have to make a judgment. And this is a very serious judgment that I have to make, because usually when you have a victim of a crime, if we were to award civil damages to someone who was harmed by being falsely arrested, that might have a chilling effect on the entire justice system, because people would have fear of coming forward, unless you can demonstrate to my satisfaction or to a court's satisfaction that someone maliciously and without cause filed a report that they knew or believed was either untrue or probably not true, and the police acted on it. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So what do we have here? We have a guy who was told to get out of the bedroom, that you were no longer interested in having a romantic relationship with him. He's out at 3 o'clock in the morning with some of his buddies, drinking. The three of them tell the exact same story to the police, that they saw you at a time when it was confirmed evidently through investigation that you were home. Couldn't have been you. As a result of which you were arrested, you were humiliated, and you want to be compensated.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm satisfied that what he did was malicious. And this is probably one of the first times that I've been so satisfied. I'm satisfied what he did was malicious. What he did is because he's a big baby. What he did was because he's probably too short for a variety of reasons. In any event, I'm awarding you what you request, $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It's been pretty traumatic.
Got phone calls in the middle of the night, everything from her.
I think he's just a mean person.
Keep her away from me.
He started controlling her when they were dating, and he didn't like the fact that she didn't want to be with him anymore, and he was doing anything that he could to make her life horrible.
The victim, me, I feel like I am.
Finally, we have justice. Judge Judy is the best.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Morgan versus King. Step forward, please.
Carpenter Gwen Morgan is suing her niece, 20-year-old hotel reservationist LaToya King, for vandalizing her car. LaToya denies the charge.
Miss Morgan, I've read your complaint. The defendant is your niece, and it is your claim that she vandalized your car. You're going to tell me why you think she would do such a thing, and then, more importantly, you're going to tell me what proof you have that she did it. So let's start with the whys first. Why would she vandalize your car?
Well, around the beginning of December, I was called to my mother's house.
Your niece was living with your mother?
She lives with my mother.
For how long were you living with, is that your grandmother?
I lived with her all my life.
She ill?
Yes.
Who else lives there at the house with you?
Right now, just my grandpa and my son.
Is he all right? Your grandfather?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so then LaToya came home, and LaToya and the young man came to my mama's house, and we got into an argument because she didn't want the check to go direct deposit. She wanted to come to the mailbox.
What check is she talking about?
This SSI check. I have the paper.
SSI check for whom?
My nephew, which is her half-brother.
How old are you?
I'm 20.
Who's in charge of your brother's
My
SSI
grandmother.
check? Your grandmother is.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you have to do with that?
Well, the thing is, I'm my mother's provider because my mother's ill and mostly bedridden.
What do you mean she's your provider? What does that mean?
In-care health care provider for the elderly people.
You don't live there?
No, I don't. I don't, but I was hired to take care of her.
Whatever, I don't want to get into that. You got into an argument with your niece over who was going to be in charge.
Over a check. Whose check was going to be?
You got into an argument with your niece over who was going to be in charge of finances.
Whether the check come
I don't care.
direct deposit or
finances, please. I don't have time to go into the whole thing. It's not necessary.
Okay.
That's what the argument was about.
Yes.
The argument was about money.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He taunts me all the time.
What did he say?
He said, ha B, that's why we tore your car up. You tried to sue the wrong person.
Don't make a big story for me. I'm asking you a question. Stop making it up as you go.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Gwen Morgan says after a family argument, her niece, LaToya King, vandalized her car. LaToya says her aunt has a lot of enemies.
Miss Morgan, when was the argument about money? Give me the date.
On December 27th.
When was your car vandalized?
Well, I woke up on the 28th I got out there about 6 o'clock a.m.
And your car was vandalized?
Yes.
You have pictures of the car?
Yes.
Can I see them, please? Okay, clearly somebody vandalized your car. They flattened your tires, scratched it up, painted it up. Nasty. Now, the next question is, what proof do you have that your niece was responsible for this damage?
Okay, after the disturbance, she called the police and told the police all kind of lies where he just wrote an incident disturbance report. So I went home to my apartment, and she kept calling my house, telling me that if I didn't come back over there to fight her and the young man, that she was going to come over to my house and tear my car up. She wanted me to come out in the rain and fight with both of them.
Do you have a police report?
No. I just have the case number for the police.
Okay. Ms. King, want to try to explain to me what happened at your house?
First of all, she has a lot of enemies, but I know that's irrelevant. But the reason why we got into an argument was because she was trying to put her name on my brother's check, which my grandmother didn't want it. And how we got into an argument, me and my boyfriend was already at the house, and she came in. I didn't know what was going on. She was holding my grandmother down, making my brother go through her purse looking for his bank statements and all this. Why? I'm not sure.
What do you mean she was holding your grandmother down?
She was holding my grandmother down, making
what does that
my
mean?
brother, like forcing her to not grab her purse from my brother. which my brother is mentally challenged, so he's easily to be manipulated. So it's not his fault or anything, but she was holding her down. So I'm like, what are you doing? And then that's when we got into an argument. She was trying to fight me, but I didn't want to fight her. I just called the police.
And the police responded?
Yes. They came and they asked her to leave.
Is that correct? Did they tell you to leave?
They asked me to leave.
You know anything about her car?
No, ma'am. I mean, I didn't do anything to it, but I heard about it.
Why don't you tell me what you heard?
Her friend called my grandmother and told her that Gwen was hurt. Somebody had vandalized her car, and she was all upset to please call her. My grandmother told me, Latoya, Gwen may be hurt. The reason why my grandmother wasn't talking to her is because she took my grandmother to court and tried to sue her for $500 for the paperwork that she did for my brother, which my mom asked her to do.
What do you know about who vandalized her car?
I don't know anything about who vandalized it. That's how I heard it.
Did you vandalize her car?
No.
Miss Morgan, she may have vandalized your car and he may have vandalized your car. You the boyfriend?
Yes.
I don't know. It's possible, but possible doesn't go in court. Do you understand, Miss Morgan? You have to have proof.
Well, he told me that they did it.
Really?
Yes, he told me.
Oh, let me, just a second, step up.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Miss Morgan, what did he say to you and when did he say it?
He taunts me all the time.
What did he say?
He said, ha B, that's why we tore your car up. You tried to sue the wrong person, but I tore your car up, me and Latoya tore it up, and they told me over the phone that they was going to tear it up if I didn't come out to fight. And
where were you when he said to you, we tore your car up?
Going down my mother's main cross street. I go over to by my mother sometimes because I know people that live in the area because I've been over there all my life.
Don't make a big story for me. I'm asking you a question. Stop making it up as you're going. When and where were you when he first told you that he tore up your car, madam?
It was on a Sunday 2 weeks ago on the corner by my mother's house on Cypress Street.
I don't believe that, Miss Morgan. I don't believe that he told you 2 weeks ago, this past Sunday, as you were going by your mother's house. I believe that they might have done it. That's not the issue. I believe you just made up that story.
No, he taunts me all the time. He does. Every time he sees me, he teases me, telling me that they tore my car.
Well, then he's not a very nice person. Did you ever do that?
I don't speak to this lady. I do not speak to her at all.
Miss Morgan, when you come to court, unfortunately, you understand you have to have proof. You don't have any proof that your niece tore up your car, and you don't have any proof that he tore up your car, and I don't believe that he admitted it to you, so your case is dismissed. That's all.
Yeah, this is case number 328 on the calendar in the matter of Kitt versus Gadsden. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Miss Kitt, do you have family?
Yes.
Tell me about your family. How many are in your family?
I have 6 and custody of one other, so that makes 7.
Is there a Mr. Kitt?
My son and my nephew.
Other than that?
No.
So you have no husband?
Right.
Miss Gadsden, you want to tell me how many people are in your family?
I live alone right now. I have 3 children. My oldest is living in Atlanta with her father. My young 2 smaller children are with their grandmother. I'm in the midst of a custody hearing. Actually, I have a court date on November 22nd.
Have those children ever lived with you in the past year?
They left about exactly a year ago.
You 2 ladies are neighbors. Each of you has a complaint against the other, suing the other for $5,000. The complaint is really grounded in various forms of harassment. You claim, Ms. Kitt, that the defendant had you falsely arrested on 4 separate occasions, and that she has made numerous phone calls about you to Child Protective Services, alleging that the children who are in your care are out unsupervised. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Gadsden says that you're making her life a holy hell, and she is counterclaiming. So why don't you, Ms. Kitt, first tell me how long you've been living in the house that you currently occupy?
I moved there exactly January 1st, the year 2000.
And how long, Ms. Gadsden, have you been living there?
I moved there 94. I've been there 5 years.
So you've been there a long time?
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you, in a couple of minutes, Ms. Kitt, tell me all about your case against Ms. Gadsden?
Well, about a week after moving there, my children were outside playing. It was right after Christmas. We had just moved there. I walked to the door, and Ms. Gadsden had a limousine come and pick her friend up. My kids, they admired it. They went outside to see, run and play and look at it. When I seen them approach Ms. Gadsden's side of the street, they was like, wow. So Ms. Gadsden came out and said, y'all, MF's children are not used to seeing things like this. Get the hell away from my yard. So I walked over to her side of the street. I said, ma'am, I don't know you, but these are my children. Don't speak to them in that tone of manner. So I went on in the house, went to work maybe 2 days later. My kid's babysitter lives directly next door to Miss Gatson. I brought you a picture.
She lives next door.
And I went to open the door to get my kids. Miss Gatson opened her door and said, B.I., hopped and spit in my face. And it was, I just can't explain, but I knew I was going to get her. And I did. The same day, I hit her. I popped her in her mouth. Not even a year later, maybe about in April, I kept getting police calls and at my house at work. I come home one day, the social services was there. She told me that she had had complaints 1 week after another concerning my kids being unsupervised. So I took her to where my kids were at a babysitter, which was next door to Miss Gatson. And they found no foundings. After they did all this, and I guess she couldn't have me locked up anymore, she started with having me arrested on false charges. I had to be bailed out of jail over and over and over again. Up until this day, I'm still being arrested.
Arrested?
Yes, arrested.
You have the police reports?
Yes, I do.
Can I see them, please?
I have some copies of those and the charges that were all dismissed.
How many times did you have her arrested for damaging your car?
2 times, ma'am.
Did you see her damage your car?
Yes, ma'am.
How come the charges were dismissed?
The photos that I'd asked a friend to drop off for me at Walmart, they did not get same day, development. They had 4 days. And when I went to court the next day, I had to wait until the day after court to get the photos. So the judge dismissed it because I didn't have proof, which made me very upset with my friend, of
Your
course.
Honor. You think I believe that story? I don't believe that story for a minute. Let's go back a minute, Miss Gatson. You have 2 young children. How old are your children?
6 and 8 years old.
The children were removed by social services?
Yes. They were not removed from me. They were placed with their father temporarily.
They were placed with their father by social services.
Okay. They were actually picked up. My oldest daughter was home with the children, and she walked out. She was, in a sense, envious of her 2 younger sisters. She thought that we had a closer relationship than she did. She'd come here from Georgia with her father, and she walked out and called the police and left the 2 children there. The police then took the children to my licensed daycare provider.
Miss Gatson.
And then from there.
Is what you're telling me that you had a misunderstanding with your older daughter, and because there was a misunderstanding with her, she was jealous of the 2 younger children, she left them alone, and because of that, social services placed your 2 children with their father?
Right.
And they've been with their father for over a year because of that?
No, ma'am. After placing them with him, well, they went immediately from my house to the licensed daycare provider that I had. From there, the father picked them up, and they allowed him to have temporary custody until I completed whatever needed to be done through the Division of Social Services.
But Ms. Gatson, there's a major piece there that you're not telling me, and
Yes,
I want
ma'am.
you to tell you, I was in family court for 25 years. I don't know if it's substance abuse involved.
No, none.
I don't know if there were prior incidents of leaving the children alone.
No,
I'm not sure. I don't know. But I know that if what the original story that you told me was that this was a misunderstanding with your older daughter, that your 2 younger children would have been back in a blink. It was not that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Have you ever been arrested for anything?
Yes, assault and battery.
What else?
Forgery.
After 92.
Petty larceny. I don't remember the years, but I know charges.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Lynette Kidd says neighbor Tanya Gatson has had her falsely arrested on 4 separate occasions. Tanya says Lynette hangs out with drug dealers.
No. So now I hear a whole bunch of false arrests and a whole bunch of stuff that you've been aggravating her. Now let me hear how she's aggravated you.
If I may begin with, there are other people living in her house, and they are individuals that aren't on leases there. They reach in their socks and they give her things that she pays for at the door, and I have witnesses that have written statements, and I've kind of highlighted where the drugs are in our neighborhood, and there's definitely drug trafficking going on in that vicinity. My last day coming home to my home, I watched an individual walk up to Mrs. Kitt's window. There is an individual I would not like to call his name, that is banned from our neighborhood, that was known to be shooting in our neighborhood. I've made several police calls about, that is in Mrs. Kitt's home now. Mrs. Kitt, from 7 in the morning to about 2, 3 in the morning, it's like a blowhorn from across the street to the street behind my street to a lady by the name of Renee that she's now pulled a knife on and had Renee removed from the neighborhood. Renee pulled a baseball bat in return. On July, the 12th day, I rented that limousine for my friend, not in September. There were children from the neighborhood, yes, but they weren't Miss Kitt's children. It was Mrs. Kitt that, as I said, excuse me, coming down from my front grass, the kids were all looking, and yes, and I brought my friend outside as a surprise because he'd done a very kind thing for me. And I said, excuse me, please. And she replied with vulgar language, and I was really torn up that I had to be assaulted to do something nice for a friend by this lady across the street. I have, Your Honor, I don't know how else to say, just had about 7 court dates with Miss Kitt.
Just a second. Miss Kitt, would you tell me how many children who live in your home are your biological children?
4 of them are, Your Honor.
Confused. 5 or 4?
Well, I count my nephew. I have custody of them. But biologically, 4 of mine live there.
Okay. What other children live in your house?
None other, and no one else, Your Honor.
Have you ever been arrested for drug sales?
No, ma'am.
Other than the arrests that were caused by complaints by Miss Gadsden, have you ever been arrested for anything?
Yes, assault and battery.
When?
2 years this year.
Who was the complainant in that case?
Another young lady.
From the neighborhood?
Yes.
And what was the result of that case?
Dismissed.
Did she allege that you assaulted her?
Yes. Yes,
and
she did.
Did you allege that you were the victim and that she assaulted you?
I said I didn't do it.
You said you just didn't do it?
I didn't do it.
Did you go to trial?
Yes, I did.
And you were acquitted after trial?
Yes.
And that's the only arrest you had anywhere?
Oh, no, ma'am. I have some, like 10 years ago.
For
12
what?
years ago.
What else?
Driving.
Other than driving?
Forgery.
What year?
92.
After 92?
94.
For what?
No, 96 was driving.
Between 92 and 96?
Petty larceny. I don't remember the years, but I know charges.
When was the last time you were incarcerated? Think carefully.
96.
How long?
45 days.
Is that on a plea or a conviction?
Conviction.
Who watched your children?
Their fathers. 2 of them were in DCS because their fathers were Navy.
Now, Ms. Gadsden, I'm going to ask you the same question. Other than instances involving Miss Kitt, have you ever been arrested?
Yes, ma'am.
When was the last time you were arrested?
This was dated on, if maybe the deputy could help me.
No, just tell me. It had nothing to do with Miss Kitt.
Indirectly, yes, ma'am. This was a summons that was for my children's father and I for court, and Miss Kitt thought this was a summons for her and I in court, and I have a witness here that watched her take the summons off my door.
Other than anything having to do with Miss Kitt, have you ever been arrested?
This is a failure to appear.
Listen to me very carefully, Miss Gadsden. Other than any instance that even tangentially involves Miss Kitt, have you ever been arrested?
I don't think so.
Don't give me I don't think so.
In my home, prior to 2000.
In your home, out of your home, in the theater, in a restaurant, in the street. Have you ever been arrested in
When
a
this
car?
individual came to my door,
Just answer yes or no.
Yes.
You have been arrested.
The officer accidentally arrested me, and he was the one that had assaulted me.
Okay, fine. Other than that instance, madam,
yes,
other than that instance, prior to 2000, have you ever been arrested?
Prior to 2000? Yeah. I was not arrested. I turned myself in after I found that the children's father's girlfriend filed a warrant against me in the city of Chesapeake, a counter warrant, and actually the incident occurred in the city of Norfolk.
I want you ladies to listen to me very, very carefully. Are you involved in a custody dispute now with the father of your children?
No, ma'am. He is not participating in what social services has required. I've completed all of those things.
Oh, he's not giving you back the kids so fast.
He doesn't have the children, ma'am.
Where are they?
His mother and sister have the children around the corner from my house. I asked them to get them out of foster care because they were taken from him because he had no place to stay.
Okay, you have an older daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
And 2 younger ones. You just told me 2 minutes ago that the
Yes,
2
ma'am.
younger children were with their father. Did I hear that right? Did you
They-
hear that?
Let her explain.
Okay.
You just told me that they weren't removed, that they weren't in foster care, that they were with their father. I said that the state take your children. You told me no.
No, I apologize.
Wait, please, give me a break. Listen, you 2 ladies deserve each other. I would suggest the following to you. Listen to me very carefully. If you're going to live next door to each other, I suggest you have nothing to do with each other. Other than that, I don't want to be bothered with you. Goodbye.
These are excused. You may step out.
Envy. There's a lady that's on the porch on a chair all night long.
She never lets up. She let the judicial system keep me down, but it's not going to keep me down.
The young lady wanted a lot of attention.
I just know it'll never be over.
I think I've been getting all the attention in the neighborhood.
I'm a good friend. I would give her a glass of water. She needed it off the street.
I've got limousines, Lexuses, SC Lexuses, all sorts of nice things coming through, and nice people coming to visit.
She's a serial neighbor.
Evening gown, dates, tuxedos, and she has nothing.
She spit in my face.
I opened my door, heard her on the porch at the neighbor's house, reached over to check my mail, and someone stepped up and did that.
Something is wrong. Definitely wrong.
I'm moving. You'll never see me again.
She needs a straight jacket.
I'm gone, Mrs. Kidd.
I'm going to keep praying.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hall versus Carlton. Step forward, please.
Registered nurse Cynthia Hall is suing artist Della Carlton for the money she paid to have a mural painted. Cynthia says Della did a poor job.
Miss Hall, you hired the defendant to paint a mural in the nursery, in your baby's nursery.
Yes, Your Honor.
Paid her $200.
Yes.
She painted the mural. You say it was less than quality work. You want your money back.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it says she did a reasonable job, and you're entitled to nothing. How did you find the defendant?
I went to a local baby store called Gore's in Sacramento, and they had a portfolio of her, and she really had a really nice portfolio there. So I was kind of at the end of my pregnancy and really wanted to get someone to do the mural for me right away. So.
And in her portfolio, did it list references?
I didn't see any references.
Did you ask her for references?
No, I didn't.
And she came to your house?
She came to my house.
First, you called her on the phone?
Yes.
Did you set a price with her on the phone?
Over the phone, we didn't really set a price. She actually came out, and I kind of discussed with her what I was wanting, but no price was set over the phone.
And so you discussed price when she came out to the house?
Yes.
And she was going to charge you?
Originally, I told her $300 for the labor.
And then?
Then later I realized I hadn't told her that I usually got $30 for supplies. So the total cost, I priced it at $330.
Okay.
And then she told me that she was on a limited budget and that she didn't want to spend any more than $200, including supplies. So I agreed to that, and I came out to her house and did the artwork.
And how long did it take you?
4.5 hours plus.
Okay, can I see the picture of what you did?
Yes, Your Honor. What I have here is her photos. I have the photos from Gore's because she did the bathroom there, a mural in the bathroom at Gore's.
I'm not interested in the photos from Gore's. You made the selection. You selected her as an artist. That's your problem, Miss Hall.
Okay.
And she painted on the wall these little butterflies?
Yes, they're about 6 inches. She stenciled them. I was not expecting those things. I was actually expecting her to give me something more three-dimensional, something that I could actually kind of come to life. I asked for a dragonfly in specific.
Upside down, that looks pretty good to me. She did all these flowers here?
Yes.
Looks lovely.
You can see the eraser marks that kind of still showed through. After it dried, it really, really showed through.
Listen, you didn't pay for a $5,000 Picasso, madam. You paid $200 to spruce up your baby's nursery. It looks like she did an absolutely fine job. Baby fine?
Baby's fine.
Boy or a girl?
Girl.
Looks around at the flowers?
Baby looks around at the flowers.
Very good. If you don't like the flowers, paint over them.
But pencil marks show through.
You paid $200 for this artwork. You got $200 worth of artwork, maybe a little bit more. Stop complaining. Don't muddle up your life with things that are really unimportant. She came to your house twice. She came first to give an estimate. She gave you an estimate of $330. Then you said, I can't spend more than $200. She said, okay, I'll do it for $200. She came out, she did the work. She was there for 4 hours. Certainly she's entitled to be paid for her labor. You paid her for her labor after the work was done. Is that right? Yes. Then later you looked at it, you said, I don't like this. I see a pencil mark. I see a smudge. I see an eraser mark.
That's because after it dried, it really showed through. You could see all
I want to
that.
tell you something. You certainly can't see that from the pictures. All you see from the pictures is lovely, light artwork. So concentrate on important things, not things that aren't important. The case is dismissed.
Hiện tại mình đang cầm đấy là mì sợi Xiaomi Baby ăn dặm cho các bé, và đối với dòng này thì các bé trên 9 tháng là đã sử dụng được dòng mì sợi Xiaomi Baby này. Thì với dòng mì sợi Xiaomi Baby thì nó sẽ chế biến một cách nhanh chóng, đơn giản, tiện lợi, dùng nấu với nước dùng đa khi hoặc là các nguyên liệu bất kỳ để chế biến thành một cái món ăn dặm. Chúng ta thay thế các cái món ăn như là cơm, cháo hàng ngày cho bé. Chúng ta có thể dùng cách 1: đun sôi nước, cho mì vào nồi, khuấy đều, luộc trong vòng 4 phút với lửa nhỏ, và chúng ta không cần phải chắt bỏ cái nước khi mà chúng ta luộc mì. Sau đó chúng ta sẽ có thể nấu bằng lò vi sóng, thì chúng ta sẽ cho khoảng 150 ml nước vào tô chịu nhiệt, thêm cái lượng mì thích hợp, khuấy đều, cho vào lò vi sóng nấu khoảng 5 phút, mà chúng ta không cần phải sử dụng đến cái màng bọc thực phẩm. Và 100% thì nguyên liệu là sợi mì, 100% là bột mì, đó là cái thành phần tạo nên cái dòng mì sợi Xiaomi Baby. Và cách sử dụng thì chúng ta sợi mì ngắn chỉ 2,5 cm, nên vì vậy rất là an toàn cho trẻ nhỏ, thích hợp cho các bé từ 9 tháng trở lên. Là đối với dòng này thì các bé ăn thoải mái rồi. Và liều lượng chúng ta có thể sử dụng cho các bé từ 9 cho đến 11 tháng thì chúng ta sẽ sử dụng 15 cho đến 20 gram trên một bữa. Còn các bé trên 11 tháng thì chúng ta có thể sử dụng từ 20 gram cho đến 30 gram trên một bữa ăn cho bé. Thì đối với dòng mì sợi Xiaomi Baby này là một cái bữa ăn thay thế các cái món ăn hàng ngày để cho bé được ngon miệng, và thay thế để bé có thể ăn ngon miệng hơn.